everybody. Welcome to Roundtable Live for November 18th, 2016. My name is BaerTaffy, joined by Rock Lee Smile, Mathis Games, Northern Lion, here with you at essentially the crack of dawn for us, 12 o'clock Pacific time.
Half of you.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to see you. Sorry for missing last week, and thank you for joining us early this week. We'll be doing the shows at noon Pacific through the rest of 2016. Starting off again at the normal scheduled time of 3 p.m. Pacific at the start of 2017, which is weird to think, come the start of 2017, we'll be like a month away from 2 years of Roundtable, which kind of blows my mind, but there we are all the same. Here for episode 66. Man. Yeah!
Great job starting this. We've done a good job.
Remember that first episode where we talked about our favorite games of 2014, and then, like, fully 45% of them still are not out? I don't mean to be that guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I like that pattern. I think it keeps us going. You know, it keeps the longevity at least a little bit more secure. Anyway, though, we got games that are out to talk about at least today, and we'll have some speculation to do as well about games that are coming along down the line. For our docket, though, to start off with, we'll be discussing Telltale's new reveals, or quote-unquote reveals, actually kind of underhandedly revealed. The Guardians of the Galaxy and Walking Dead Season 3 coming up from them. Super Mario Run, Nintendo's venture into mobile, will be $10, and we'll talk about that a little bit. A little bit more news about Afterbirth Plus, including some community mod support, as well as some more information about Legend of Bumbo from Edmund over there on the blog. We also got the nominees for the Game Awards 2016, which will probably take up quite a bit of the show. We're going to be breaking all those down, looking at the categories, and seeing who we think will win. Planet Coaster also just came out this week, along with Beholder and Dishonored 2. We'll also be briefly touching on Tyranny and the Agony demo. I just realized, too, that they got boobs on the fucking homepage, man. They are not shy about it.
The boobs are everywhere, man.
Holy shit.
It is hell, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, you
gotta get just the worst.
I was gonna take a different route and say, well, if they're gonna put you in hell, at least they got boobs there, right?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, though, Telltale has sort of, by virtue of the SAG-AFTRA strike, been forced to reveal their hand about their upcoming titles. Telltale will be working on a Guardians of the Galaxy game. Excitement immediately for that?
No.
A shaking finger. Oh.
No, it's like whoop-de-fucking-do. Like,
Yeah. I think it's kind of just... It's just expected, isn't it? It's just what they're supposed to do at this point.
Yeah.
Telltale needs to... If they're going to excite people like us, which maybe is not even what they care about, they need to make, like, a kind of a bold artistic choice at this point, I think. Because, like...
Yeah.
There was a time when it was like, oh, new Walking Dead Season 2, that's amazing. Oh, Walking Dead 400 Days, you know, Tales from the Borderlands. Then we're at this point now where we're like...
They're pulling an Ubisoft where it's like, here's another
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, the way that I think about it right now is like, the amount of Marvel movies that we get. Imagine if, like, Marvel movies got a lot worse the more of them that they made. And then they're like, we're making, you know, Thor 3. You'd be like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Thor 3.
Yeah, I mean, still, people are not that excited about Thor 3, I guess.
It's one of those things where I feel like they just need to disappear for 2 years and come back with a new renovation on the... Because they're the ones that kind of... I don't want to say redefine. I feel like it's a strong word, but they're the ones that kind of revitalized the adventure genre in a lot of ways.
Sure.
For the way they did it. And I'd love them to go away for a couple of years and then really build on that formula. Because they created this formula... And then they never did anything new with it for like 3 years now. They've just been doing the same thing with just different stories. At this point, just make a fucking audiobook and just give us that.
I would love if they'd moved away from doing all the licensed stuff and just made their own IP.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And made the choices actually meaningful instead of sort of superficial, and like really made a deep integration with how the branching works, instead of it just being like, all right, choice A leads to choice B, but sometimes C. Like, that's kind of all it is, and it kind of loops back around to the same path. So make it deeper, make it more meaningful, and take some time to make it.
Yeah.
We'll be more into it then.
At this point, they're just like... every company just wants to hand them money to create a new IP in their world. And I mean, clearly it must be selling well because they keep getting more contracts with, like, Marvel, and then they had Game of Thrones, and I fully expect to see
the Minecraft story mode, right? Yeah.
And then I fully expect one day we're gonna see like a Star Wars one. Like, it'll happen.
I don't think like I think the ultimate question for this is like, is there a license where you would be excited about it? Because for me, like, I mean, you said Star Wars. I was like, I could see myself playing it, but I'm not like, oh, if that comes out, I have to play it.
I probably will have to play Star Wars because I'm just a huge Star Wars nerd. Like, I'm tabletop games, video games. I read the books, but I will also recognize as playing it like this is the same thing, but I'll be playing it for the story because that's what I care about. But like, I played the Batman. I played the first episode, and I was like, this is good, but it's not good enough for me to go and play the other 4 episodes that are out now, or 3 episodes. And the trailer came out actually for the new Batman episode, and it's, I guess, Bruce Wayne's like in an insane asylum for some reason. I don't know. I'm like, and of course, like the inmates walk in and there's this guy talking, and then at the end the guy laughs, and it's like it's the Joker, and I'm like, yeah, that's my reaction. But the Twitter is blowing up. They're like, oh my God, it's the Joker. And I'm like, did you expect the Joker?
What an amazing character revitalizes the whole series.
I can't believe they're bringing in the Joker in a Batman game. That's so weird.
What if Mark Hamill voices him?
No, he isn't. It's not Mark Hamill.
Oh.
It's objectively worse.
It's not even Mark Hamill, man.
No.
Oh.
So I just don't care. Like, it's like, like it was, but that's the thing. Like, the first episode was decent, and the way they handled the combat aspect of Batman was cool. But at the end, your choices during combat didn't fucking matter. Like, it just, the choices you made for the combat sequences just determined the little cutscene of how Batman was going to beat the guy up played out.
Right.
That's all it was. And I just don't.
You know what I'd like to see is like an Event Horizon Telltale game or something like that. Like they've done mature themes, like, you know, in The Walking Dead. I mean, they've done the zombie themes where somebody gets bitten and then they're like, you know, they turn into a zombie. Oh, it's very emotional. Yeah. And not even like just being sarcastic. And then in The Wolf Among Us, you're like, yo, that lady gets her head cut off. That's
most of their games are pretty serious and mature.
Yeah, but I want to see them do a take on a game where like a dude goes through a wormhole and gets turned inside out, but is still alive. Yeah. Like, that's
Jesus Christ.
I want to see like Eldritch Abominations in space.
Or like Cthulhu, sure.
Yeah, you want to see the Red Hook Studios version of a Telltale game, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. I just wanted I wanted to like disturb people, and I think that's like a bold artistic choice that will never happen. But you know, I mean, the other thing is like as Telltale, you know, you're listening to us and you're like, well, you know, our studio expanded from like 45 people to 300, so we kind of need to keep pulling in these licenses, or 200 people need, you know. I'd love to work on something original, but we got to fire 200 people to make that happen. So,
you know, I think the direction I would go in is a bit opposite, actually. I would go towards something like Doctor Who and Sherlock. Go for witty, go for pithy, comedic to some degree. And I guess they sort of did that a little bit with Borderlands.
Didn't they do Doctor Who, or am I just...
No, they haven't. I would be all over a Doctor Who game, so I think that really plays to the strengths. Or even go in the direction of like Black Mirror. You know, something really comedically dark in a way that also points something to do with technology. This seemed to go for that.
That is absolutely the combo that I didn't know I wanted until now that I can't live without, actually. Yeah. Black Mirror plus Telltale? Holy shit, that would be incredible.
What about a Breaking Bad story?
Yeah, that too, actually. I'd be on board with that, I bet. But now that's just making me think, okay, so maybe Ryan's first point is a little bit more prescient in that we kind of just want to play what we know, maybe. Even though we all kind of know Game of Thrones, and I don't think any of us were really drawn to that, right? Even though it did sell well.
But I heard it was awful, so I didn't be playing it.
Yeah. Became a fucking sleeper after like episode 2. And it's like, oh god, so boring, and like the story wasn't good. But every episode was like, this character from the TV show is voiced by the TV actor.
Right.
Whoa!
Hey, you're like, oh, neat.
Not even voiced by Mark Hamill.
That was like the thing for Game of Thrones, but at the end, like 6 episodes in, it was just like, fuck, it was just boring. It was so boring.
To harp back on that previous point as well, the fact that they do sell the licensed versions. The Game of Thrones game has over 600,000 owners on Steam. It's doing fairly well. I'm sure Borderlands has a similar story. I'm sure Minecraft Story Mode has a similar story. So, I mean, it is working. What they're doing is working. And I'm sure the Guardians of the Galaxy game will sell hundreds of thousands of copies at least. So, yeah. Unfortunately for us, those looking for Telltale to maybe break through their mold a bit, doesn't seem to be the trajectory they're heading for based on their previous successes. And
It's true, but I worry that, well, I don't worry, but I think like this might be like peak Telltale. And then you'll look back in
Right.
3 years and you'll be like, people don't care about these games at all anymore just because there were so many. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
earned up like all of the desire, I think. And we're at the point where, you know, a couple of years ago, people, or maybe not a couple, but 3 or 4 years ago, people would have been like, I don't like that license that much, but Telltale's Walking Dead season 1 was so good that I'll at least give it a try. Like, how many people, if they came out with The Wolf Among Us in 2016 or 2017, none of us are going to play it because we're just going to be like, oh, there's already too many Telltale games. So,
I think that was the last one I played in full was Wolf Among Us.
Yeah,
and
same.
I don't know
Game
about
of
you,
Thrones came out after that, actually.
the reason I played it is because on the strength of Telltale's
Yep.
season 1 for The Walking Dead, basically, I was like, I'll give any license a try for them. So they're at the point where it's not really the game that's selling itself on its quality or, you know, the quality of its writing. It's just a license. So, you know, we're one step away, in my opinion, from just like, I got the movie tie-in game because I'm a super fan, but it's not really that good.
Well,
Yeah.
if this ends up being the new quality level for movie tie-in games, I do suppose that would be an improvement over the way it was in the
Yeah.
early 2000s.
I agree with that.
And, you know, obviously we have to keep ourselves in check and realize that, like, we are the outliers in that, you know, we have very little time to play through a lot of these things in the first place. So for us, it's easier to be like, another Telltale game, I don't have time for you.
Right.
We do kind of all agree, right, that the baseline quality for Telltale games is generally a bit higher than most, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just, the problem is they just haven't done anything. Like, they haven't
Yeah.
gone down in quality. They just upped the amount. It's like Assassin's Creed games arguably have gone down in quality, but for a while, Assassin's Creed games were of similar quality and they were good. They were regarded as good, but the formula just never changed. That after a while, like, it's another Assassin's Creed game.
Right.
Like, you know, you're going to be climbing on towers, jumping into haystacks, assassinating people, and running away on a horse. Like, that's just how they work.
Well, like in chat, somebody said Telltale's OBS Studio, Telltale's Steam client.
The story of
Roll the dice. Which property is it today? Telltale's South Park, The Stick of Truth.
There's kind of a sub-story to this as well that we touched on. The fact that the only reason we even know of the existence of the Guardians of the Galaxy game is because SAG-AFTRA, the union for actors and voiceover actors, actually released a list of games that had not struck new deals with the union yet. And this contained a lot of, you know, under-the-table information. In fact, a lot of the games listed on here are not even going by their launch titles yet. They're going by in-house titles, like coded names. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy was actually referred to as Blue Harvest. And then you've got something on this list that says Hearthstone, a.k.a. Rollover 23. I have no idea what that means. Recharge 16, a.k.a. Mevius. So there's a lot of really cryptic stuff going on this list. But then there's also the ones that stand out, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then, of course, The Walking Dead Season 3, which was also revealed on that same list.
Is that first bit a Kingdom Hearts game? Because it's
It's something, oh yeah, absolutely.
something / Mevius. That sounds like...
Recharge 16, a.k.a. Mevius. That is Kingdom Hearts 2.96.
Yep.
100%.
2.69. Sorry,
Yeah,
you got it
sorry. That's right.
It says a lot about how fast Telltale can make these games that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 comes out in like May or it's sometime this summer at least.
Yeah.
And all they do is like write and voice act. I mean, and also animate, but like it's not like they're building the engine from scratch. But we're like 6 months away from that game having to be done.
Yeah.
They haven't struck a deal for voice acting. It's like, all right, I mean, I guess you know how to manage your company, but it's a little frightening.
Startling, yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh, we just need to cast, you know, like 150 roles and have you cut like 5 hours of voice acting each. No big deal.
Yep. It's I don't know whether to interpret this as sort of a slight from SAG-AFTRA as well toward the industry. I don't know if it's, I mean, they're clearly trying to use it as leverage, right? They're trying to get the companies to get on the fucking ball here and actually get stuff done by kind of, you know, forcing their hand a little bit this way. Whose side are you guys on as far as this is concerned? I don't know whether to feel good or bad about this. It's maybe like not really a side to choose. I guess more of a how do you feel about the move in particular? I suppose.
I mean, like, I think we're pretty pro-union
Yeah.
for the most part, so it's a little unfair. But I mean, if in the end the game companies have the money, so the union, I don't think it's a huge shot across the bow to like accidentally, or not accidentally, but reveal a couple of upcoming titles. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's negotiation. You have to come at it from like a position of strength, right? If they've been on strike for like a month now. If they haven't come to a resolution yet, you got to start to apply some pressure, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. It didn't occur to me, actually. Yeah, it's already been that long. So that's when you consider the people that have been on strike for a month, they're not working, you know, like they're losing income every single day here. So I guess, yeah, it's maybe time to start pulling out the big guns, I suppose. All right. Well, that's Telltale's new reveals anyway. Guardians of the Galaxy, Walking Dead Season 3. I am probably going to play Walking Dead Season 3, by the way. I'll put that out there as well. I enjoyed Seasons 1 and 2 quite a bit. Season 1, I mean, this isn't really a bold opinion, but probably the best Telltale game I've ever played still. And, yeah, there we go. Next up on the docket, Super Mario Run is launching on December 15th. Super Mario Run, of course, is I believe this is their first like official mobile game, isn't it?
It is the first official Nintendo game.
So it's coming out to iOS first. Will be coming to Android, I think, sometime next year. The fee is a one-time fee of $9.99, but you do get to try the entire game before you have to pay for the whole thing. There's 3 different game modes built into it. One I think is just sort of like a mini building manager, castle manager, something like that. But the main core game is just an endless runner Mario style. And it's nothing entirely surprising. I'd show you a video, but it's Nintendo. You
Thanks,
run,
Bear.
you're collecting coins, you're getting power-ups, you're jumping on walls and stuff. So yeah, it's nothing too shocking as far as endless runners are concerned. But it looks nice. You know, it's got the Mario appeal to it. It's got all the aesthetics you're familiar with.
$10, right?
It is $10, yeah. So that's the
If there are no microtransactions in it, then
that's the big bold statement, though, isn't it? A $10 mobile game in the atmosphere of a $5 mobile game being considered premium, right? That it's still the
Unless
case.
you're Square Enix, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true too. And then Final Fantasy IV is fucking $18. But
Ridiculous.
so yeah, general feelings here. I personally am not surprised at all by the $10 price point. I don't know if you guys are.
No, I mean, I think that AAA publishers have the ability to exert a little bit more pressure, and I hope that it is a little bit more of a premium mobile title at that price. Like, I have bought $10 games on iPad. I bought $30 games on iPad, and for the most part, like, I don't really mind paying that. Like, the Enemy Unknown port to iPad is really, really good. So I'm okay with that. And I mean, I'm not sure if this is controversial, but I sort of feel like I have the hunch that this is actually going to be really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's because I want to be cynical about it, and instead I'm like, I know Nintendo's going to make me look like a stupid idiot, and they're going to come out and everyone's going to be like, this is the best mobile game of the year. And you go, oh, I've seen this done 100 times before, but then Crossy Road that was downloaded 10 million times, and you're like, it's just a reskinned Frogger, but it's like for whatever reason it hooks people, and I would not be surprised if this does that this year.
So what you're saying is, safe bet on the stock market. Go ahead and buy those 1,000 shares of Nintendo come December 14th.
It's going to do really well, and then Nintendo's going to see those profits, and they're going to get almost exclusively into mobile games in the next 5 years. That's my prediction. But I'm very cynical about it. I feel like you're taking an almost dead, boring franchise and taking it and crossing it with another dead, boring franchise idea.
Yo, how's the Mario franchise dead and or boring, though?
It's extremely tedious at this point. It's just the same thing mixed up in different ways. Mario's in this place, Mario's in that place, whatever. Do something new.
I think
I thought people like Mario Maker, people like loved it, and then Super Mario 3D World, people were like really into as well.
Is Mario
And
Maker
Paper
not
Mario's
like
good, too.
that's like the end all be all of Mario platformers, though, isn't it? You've given all the tools now to the community. And it's like
It's still very purposely restrictive. They left a lot of stuff out of that so they could still sell you more of the
And
same.
it's only 2D.
yeah.
You only side scrolling.
True, yeah.
True. Well, I meant particularly about like the 2D platform Mario. Basically, it's like the Mario Maker is, you can create whatever you want more or less out of that. So it's giving the community everything they want as far as that's concerned.
It's like the Afterbirth Plus of Mario games is the way that I think of it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think Nick, you were more referring to the boring part being the endless runner genre, though, weren't you?
I mean, honestly, the both of them. There's nothing much going on in Mario. It's really just the sterile sort of drab pseudo 3D plastic looking environment. I know people see it's colorful and they get really excited by that, but I don't think there's much depth to them anymore. It's really just individual levels that don't have much cohesiveness across the massive appeal of these worlds that they're trying to make. I really think they're rather shallow.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. In my experience playing Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, that is that one, right? I get the names confused. I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, what'd you say?
The one on the Wii U is Super Mario 3D World, right?
Super Mario 3D World.
Yes.
I think.
Okay, yeah. So that one, I agree with your assessment in that it did just sort of feel like a disjointed collection of levels with the Mario theme, and it's fun. I mean, it's not bad, but I think.
Look, I can't even remember which Mario's which anymore. They all just feel
well,
like
that's kind of what I was getting at, yeah.
New Super Mario game just 50 times over now.
I just want to come out and say that I think you guys are out of your minds. New Super Mario 3D World U is awesome.
I did not say it was bad. I said it was not bad.
But I think it was one of the best Wii U titles in my opinion. New Super Mario Brothers U, the launch title, I was like 80-20 on, but I still thought it was...
you know what? I think I might be thinking of that. Because that's the one that comes with it, right?
One of them is like 2.5D and the other one is full 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I forgot that one even existed.
I have no
actually,
idea, man. Fuck, there's too many. Yeah, you're right, Nick.
I have the launch
They're all
title.
just starting to
That's
run
the one I
together.
was thinking you were talking about.
Mario, God.
Yeah, there's another 3D one that I just forgot about.
It's New Super Mario Brothers U.
That was the 2012 launch title for
and
the
that
Wii U.
comes with the console. So that I wouldn't have had to buy that. I would just been playing that on the consoles. That might be the one I'm thinking of. I'm pretty sure that is it, actually. And that one is not bad, but it's not incredible.
I love them. I played them all. They were great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Mathis on this one. Although I didn't play Mario Maker.
Mario Maker was great.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I'm not very good at making levels, but I had a good time playing other levels.
Can you go beyond just great though? Like, what about it is great?
I think in terms of platforming mechanics, it's just really solid, and it just I don't know. It's the same as when you play a game that controls like Super Meat Boy. You go, this just controls right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that Mario feels to me, probably because I grew up playing it. That I'm just I know how long to expect this jump to last. I know how high it's going to go and how far it's going to go, and it just feels like being a musician and you're sight reading levels. I enjoy that feeling, and actually for the most part, I prefer the 2D games to the 3D games. But I will say, New Super Mario Brothers U, I thought was just sort of, It's too easy, honestly. At this point, for us at least.
Mm-hmm. Pardon me the tangential hypothetical here. If Mario were to be released for the first time today as Super Mario 3D World or something like that, I wonder how we would feel about how it controls. I wonder if we would be satisfied with it. Because I can sort of interpret modern day me feeling as though Mario is a little bit too floaty, maybe, and doesn't necessarily...
Yeah, personally, I really think that it's got bad controls. The original Mario games are extremely slippery, and yeah, they're perfected to what they are as far as the tempo of the levels, at least as far as the 2D ones. But I think if you take him out of that vacuum of those levels and put Mario in some other situation, you'll find it feels a bit like Ultimate Chicken Horse, where everything is just kind of slippery and you keep falling off stuff you should be able to stick to. So that has always frustrated me about Mario games, and I always wish they took it somewhere a little bit more frictional as far as the character interaction.
It just made me think about that because just of what you said, Ryan. You know how Mario works because you just played Mario, right? That's just kind of the entire basis for the understanding of those mechanics. Yeah. Also,
I don't know when we turned on Mario.
No.
I want it to be on video that I don't agree with the Mario hate right now. And as much as I am cynical about Nintendo, I think this is the franchise that's pretty much mostly been killing it. As long as I ignore the stuff that doesn't matter to me, another Paper Mario or stuff like that.
Which was good. according to our sources, right, Mathis?
Right? Yeah.
Mario is good.
We're treading dangerous waters going any sort of anti-Mario. I know that, but I don't.
No, I think you should have the freedom to have opinions.
Oh, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that.
No, I'm not you.
We're not going to disagree with that, obviously. All right, Super Mario Run is going to be $9.99, coming out December 15th on iOS devices. Get those stocks now, and then sell them on the 17th because they'll plummet.
I actually, there's a tangent that I wanted to go down,
Sure.
which is like, is it that bad if Nintendo starts making a bunch of mobile titles? Like, I know the way that Nick brought it up is obviously like it had a veil of cynicism over it, but as far as I'm concerned, that's like the closest platform agnostic Nintendo that we could possibly get to, you know, unless the Switch fails miserably. So, I mean, I don't really mind if Nintendo makes first-party titles for iPhone and Android as long as they're like actually good.
They don't have buttons. I really think that's a problem. You need buttons to play those games
I
properly.
don't think you do. I think you just on-screen jump and move.
As long as they keep it
Platformer on mobile, it's so bad.
I mean, the bigger the screen, the better it is, I feel, but you're not wrong in that there's been a lot of bad examples of that. But
I don't think anyone can do it. I don't think it's possible. I mean, you can get a Bluetooth controller, but is that what we're aspiring to? You're going to carry around a controller with your phone?
I think a lot of people might if the original Mario Brothers collection was on their phone. It might
I don't know.
happen.
I mean, I don't feel like every Nintendo property works on phones, but I think there's a lot of them that do. Like, I could definitely see a Pokemon game, and not just Pokemon Go, but like a more traditional Pokemon game working on phone. And if you think like Sun and Moon are going to be huge, a fully fledged Pokemon game for iPhone or Android would move like 40 million units.
That would probably it would make the Pokemon Go launch look like nothing.
I think that's conceivable, as long as it wasn't like $50 when it came out. But
Sure.
you know, I will say that it would be different Nintendo games. Like, obviously, I actually agree with Nick. You don't want to control a platformer on like an on-screen D-pad or something like that. Like, those tend to not work really well. But I don't know. I would like to see what they do with kind of a different input device that is actually universally accepted instead of one that they created in their own R&D labs that eventually just fades away into obscurity.
I'll give you Pokemon. I think that would work just fine on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
RPGs in general would work fine. Just not platformers. Don't
Yeah.
give me any platformers, please.
Yeah, every RPG I played has been like I don't even think about it being on a phone. It's just
Yeah.
worked.
Speaking of cynical, not to detract from this, but staying on Nintendo topic, did
Sure.
you guys see that there was a potential price point leak for the Switch?
No, I did not. What are we looking at?
$250.
That's okay.
It's very cheap.
Yeah,
Cheap. It's very cheap.
that's actually
Surprisingly cheap, actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. I'm on Forbes right now. A Canadian Toys R Us website put the price as
yeah.
$329.99 Canadian, which translates to about $245 US.
Interesting.
So,
Did you guys see that? I saw a clip on Twitter of a Twitch stream where like these two people are freaking out, like they're so excited, and then the dude holds up a Nintendo Switch, and then attaches the controllers from it, and then like puts them back in. I was like,
he's
what?
like, I'm gonna get sued. He does it anyway. Like,
What does anyone in chat have more context for that? Because all I saw was like the 45-second video of it or whatever that was on Twitter.
Yeah, it's faked.
It was faked.
Yeah.
How so?
How'd they fake it?
He made some kind of piece of hardware, I guess. I just read that it was not real.
Just concocted his own Switch, huh? That's great.
It was 3D printed. Man, welcome to the future.
Dude, that's
Right?
scary.
It did look fairly convincing, I must say.
Yeah.
Man.
regardless, the price point, I feel like is telling of the type of technology that it's going to be running on.
I don't disagree with you, but I kind of just want to be cautiously optimistic about it at the same time. Because I think we're pretty convinced already that it's not going to compete hardware-wise, right?
It's definitely not.
I don't
it's
think
going to be tablet technology.
Yeah, I don't think we even had that question. So if it's got a competitive price point, that's going to be one of the few things that will draw people to it at least.
Here's the link for people in chat.
Mm-hmm.
The Forbes link.
I like that a lot, actually. I really hope that ends up being true. $250, that's near convincing if we don't see anything, that would just throw up massive red flags before that.
It's 2.5 Ouya's, man.
That's one 3D SXL in a game.
I saw
It
one of
still
those.
looks like a new I have to say the color scheme they went with.
I saw one of those posts about how the Nintendo Classic, you know, like you're comparing that to the Ouya, where you got like Nintendo
Yeah.
Classic has got 30 classic games, but the Ouya has 5 million, and you can play anything you want. You can emulate it, but why haven't people bought the Ouya then?
Real talk, can you still buy an Ouya?
I don't know.
Like, because Kate brought this up to me as well. She was like, you know, you could just get an Ouya for like $100. And I was
Ouya.
like, do they even like I bought
Ouya.tv.
Yeah, Ouya.tv.
$9
from Chip, and like everybody that worked there is now working somewhere else.
Well, you still have to do the legwork. It's not like you can get an Ouya and then all the emulators will be pre-installed with all your ROMs on
Right.
it. So you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Oh, if you click on the shop, it says the shop is not available.
Right, coming soon.
Oh.
But at the bottom, it says 1,230 games and counting.
And counting.
Want to set up an online store? Sign up for Shopify.
Yeah.
Oh no!
When you go to shop.ouya.tv, it's just this
Yeah,
big
send you
banner
to
up on the
Shopify.
top.
You guys want to buy their domain?
Oh shit! Hold on, I guess I just
Oh,
gotta.
well.
I gotta
It seems like one of the things like in 2 years you'll go into like the Source by Circuit City, and you'll just have like a box of Ouyas there that are already opened, and then like it's like $40 or best offer.
You're like $3.
I kind of want to go. I want to take a screen cap of this. I want to go back pre-Ouya Kickstarter, and I want to show somebody this screen cap
Yeah,
from
man.
November 18th, 2016. Don't put your eggs all in this basket, buddy.
Whatever happened to the Game Stick? That was like the other one that went huge. It was like, it's all the power of a modern console, but it's the size of a USB stick. And even back then, you're like, really? Like, that doesn't seem. Why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't Sony do that?
Right.
Then?
I don't remember that.
GameStick.tv is a dead link. That's
Well,
all your info
if
for
you
that.
haven't already, buy your own Game Stick for just $79.
I got my game stick I can play with for free.
Ooh,
In
nice.
20 years, I'll wait for Ashens to do a video on it.
I hope Ashens is still making videos in 20 years.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
want Did you know gaming on it?
Yeah, there we go.
Did you know this console is garbage? And that's the end of the video.
So that is Super Mario Run turning into surprise news about the Nintendo Switch price point.
Hooray.
There we go. Afterbirth Plus.
Yeah.
We don't
What's
have a
that?
release date for this still, do we?
Within
Within
60
the next
days.
60 days.
Okay, so there we
2
go.
months.
Ryan, you just want to take the helm here?
Yeah, so I mean, I had the I have the update open here. So Afterbirth Plus, they've been really quiet on. I think most people, if you had asked like 6 months ago, probably would have thought that it would be out in October or November of this year. But after seeing it at PAX, it's like seems like it's a little further away than that. But it has new items, enemies, bosses, challenges, achievements, and a new playable character, new final chapter, and boss/ending. It also has in-depth mod tools for the community to run wild with and continue to build onto Isaac long after we close the book on it.
It sounds like it's going to be as big as Afterbirth.
I think that it will be like my perception is going to be like 60% as big as Afterbirth, with the caveat that like part of that allows you to make it a billion times
Yeah.
better than Afterbirth. So they said, I'm just cherry picking from the update post here. Once Afterbirth Plus is out and the community starts running wild with mod insanity, I'll be peeking in and looking for my favorite new additions. This is Edmund writing. I'll handpick my favorite stuff, toss it to the team, and said content will be added to the main game officially. So it looks like there's going to be some form of almost curation that they're going to do and add mods that they like in particular. I feel like I've personally scraped the barrel when it comes to item design and feel quite depleted. That's probably fair. But I'm positive that there are a ton of cool ideas out there that they must be added. Come on, let's make it work. 60 days. They want to release it before the end of the year, but it might not be possible. And that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it for Afterbirth Plus anyway.
Yep. And then new info about Legend of Bumbo as well, which is exciting.
Yeah. So they said that Legend of Bumbo is coming along in a state where they're happy enough to show it off. And it is a action puzzle RPG. So almost, to me, it sort of looks a little bit like 10 Million, where there's like there's battles that you get into, and then it almost looks like a match 3 system that determines how much damage you do or what actions you actually take within the battle. But the thing that's interesting for me at least, and most of the people that are watching it. It's got kind of a cool like paper crafty aesthetic, and the whole game looks like it's made out of like corrugated cardboard with paint on it, which is a neat stylistic choice that I don't think I've seen before. But that's about it. Like it seems like it's still super early, and there's a lot of work to go before we see a lot of stuff about that.
I wonder if it'll be a one-time playthrough thing, or if they're going to attempt to do roguelike-esque and make it like multiple plays.
It says it has random elements. Now, so does almost everything, but you know, depending on how deep that goes in the philosophy.
215 million combos.
It would be cool if it was like Isaac, but every room that you enter, you just match 3 instead.
Yeah,
that's enough for me. But that's speculation at this point for sure.
You may not be too far off based on what little we have here, but yeah, that would be quite interesting. The art style is terrific, though. I really love the popsicle sticks, especially. Is just really satisfying to see that bounce around. It reminds me a lot of the Behemoth, actually.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Caraway, Little Big Planet kind of style.
Yeah.
I was saying before the podcast, I think it would be really cool if they somehow integrate sort of like Isaac trivia in item situations where you have to like know your item to be able to get through a situation the most efficient way, to sort of reward the people that have spent all this time memorizing all this stuff. I don't know if that would actually be a thing that would benefit everybody, but for the people that would enjoy it, I think they'd enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how they're really going to be marketing this. Just because, it's kind of interesting in that it's a game about an extremely minor character in a roguelike, right? It's like I don't know if they're going to try to sell this to people who haven't even played Isaac, or if they're really just going to try to corner in on that market. But
look at the Prinny games from Disgaea. Like, they're a total departure, but that's just sort of one small character from a bigger series, and they play completely different. One is like an action platformer, the other is like a super deep RPG.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think there's room for it to work in some contexts.
Another weird comparison I can make is the Misadventures of Tron Bonne. I don't know if any of you guys played that. You remember back in the day? Did we all play that? Oh, that makes me really happy.
Game is super hard to get nowadays.
I love that game. Yeah, it's like fucking $300 now to get a
ridiculous.
Black Label copy, but I love that one.
I knew Tron Bonne from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, actually.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. That's the update.
Jeez. You want to get it brand new? $700.
Holy hell.
What?
Yep. To get it brand new.
I love that when you type Misadventures into Google, it's like actually the first result. After Misadventures, it's just Misadventures of Tron Bonne. That makes me happy too. I love that.
Which says to me that if you're making a game, if you think it has any chance to become popular, you should name it The Misadventures of something, because the SEO is ripe for the picking right now.
It's been since 1999, man. That thing, that tree has not been picked.
Mine with naming my series Judge Mathis, right after that sweet reality TV.
There's a huge overlap between Judge Mathis's the judge target audience and people who want to see video game coverage for sure.
Right? Yeah, that was my initial.
Sweet. All right, that's our Afterbirth Plus and Legend of Bumbo update. Now for the meat and potatoes of the show today, it's the Game Awards. Game Awards have announced their 2016 nominees. We're going to be starting from the bottom, which is some of the...
No Man's Sky.
On that shit immediately.
Oh, man. Whoa! All right, got that out of there. We're going to be starting from a lot of the fan-voted categories and then working our way up from the bottom all the way up to Game of the Year.
Started at the bottom, now we here.
That's right, Bay. All right. I called you Bay just now. It was instinctual. I don't know what happened, but there it is. So, we'll start with an interesting one. It's the most anticipated game. So this must be announced and scheduled for release after December 1st of this year.
If I can get on my high horse for a minute, this should not be an award that is in something that's supposed to be taken legitimately. Like, this is an MTV Teen Choice Award, like Best Kiss caliber.
This is the kind of award that got No Man's Sky in trouble.
Exactly.
That's probably true. And Jeff Keighley has actually come out and said like he takes partial responsibility for the overhyping of No Man's Sky. So it's interesting that this is still a category even after that.
You watch the Oscars. My favorite category is Best Trailer.
This is a fan-voted category, though, so I'll give them that pass in that this is just sort of a way to appease people. But on the list, God of War, the new one, of course, Horizon Zero Dawn, Mass Effect Andromeda, Red Dead Redemption 2, and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So
RDR2.
you think so?
Wait, did you not say Last Guardian?
It's not
Or
on
did
there.
you?
Well,
It
it's
comes out before the next game.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
yeah. Well, it is scheduled for release after December 1st, but it was delayed, so maybe that's
I just figured as far as anticipated games go, I mean, it's got quite a few years of a head start, right?
yeah. I'm actually it fits their rule set, so I'm kind of surprised it's not on here. But yeah, didn't make the cut. This is a great list, actually. I'm pretty happy with this list. I might go with RDR2 as well, though. Red Dead Redemption has quite the draw.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I think it's probably either Red Dead Redemption 2 or the new Zelda.
Yep.
Depending on which fan bases mobilize better.
Right.
I'm like split in 3 different ways. The new God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and RDR2 are all seeming really good to me.
Mm-hmm. All of these look good to me, actually. Even Andromeda, I think, looks pretty interesting. I definitely will be playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That's like a new IP, which is extremely exciting. And then, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously exciting. Legend of Zelda looks really good. Good list. But I think I'd probably have to go with RDR2.
Get that hype rolling, boys.
Mm-hmm. Next up is Best Fan Creation, which is another user-voted category. For fan-created content such as mods, fan films, and other player content. You got Project AMR or AM2R up there. Pokemon Uranium version, Brutal Doom 64, and Enderal the Shards of Order, which I'm pretty sure was that Skyrim mod, right?
I have zero input because I've played 0 of these games.
Okay.
No, dude, that's so insulting that they only have 4. It's like they went through thousands and we're like, we really can't find those.
What else would you add on here? Can you think of anything off the top of your head?
I don't know, like
The dating game, the Tem dating game from Undertale, that should be on there. No, I'm joking. AM2R was fantastic, though.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like a respect play that the dude put 10 years of his life into it. And you got to be like, give it to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I haven't played any of
Nintendo
them.
doesn't like sue the Game Awards for revealing its existence.
Oh,
You said it was Brutal Doom 64?
yes. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know they made it Brutal Doom 64. I actually love Doom 64, and I didn't know anyone else did. So I'm going to have to go check that out.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. Enderal, I've actually heard really good things about as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up taking a surprise win.
Mm-hmm.
But there's that one. Next is Trending Gamer, another fan-voted category. Actually, I think we're just going to pass on this one because I don't
sounds
want
good.
like slide
Are we
anyone.
are we in there?
No,
voting for Mathis.
surprisingly, we didn't make it.
Thank you. Right. I'll send my vote your way.
I'll let people
This is
know
the
in case they're
Joystick
curious.
Awards? Like,
It's-
what is this?
Sorry, what?
This is the Joystick Awards, like the Golden Joystick.
This is the
Awards?
Game Awards. This is
The same exact fucking category was in the Golden Joystick Awards.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's interesting.
Gaming
gotta give that
Personality of the Year,
YouTube
Sean
credit.
Plott, Day 9 won. And then YouTube Upcoming Personality of the Year went to Jesse Cox.
Mm.
Oh, good for him.
He's a nice upstart YouTuber.
I was just going to say,
Right.
he's considered
Upcoming
upcoming
Personality
still.
went to Jesse Cox.
really
Then
hope
that
that he
brand
catches
new
on.
YouTuber.
For anybody that's curious, we're not going to talk about this, but here's the people nominated for Trending Gamer. It's Angry Joe Show, Boogie2988, Danny O'Dwyer, Jacksepticeye, and Lyric. Those are the 5.
So nice to be validated by other media, I guess.
By traditional media, right? All right. This is another fan-voted one. It's a best esports game. I don't think we really have any concern about this. It is CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, Overwatch, and Street Fighter 5. Best esports team, which includes SK Telecom 1, Wings Gaming, SK Gaming, Rockstar,
These are
and
the
Cloud9.
awards they do like the night before, and then they play like a montage of the winners at the actual event, right?
And then you got your best esports player as well, which include Faker, Coldzera, I cannot pronounce his name, he's a Korean StarCraft 2 player, Infiltration, and Hungrybox. All right, we are now getting into the actual jury-evaluated categories. So here we go. First up, best multiplayer game. You got Battlefield 1, Gears of War 4, Overcooked, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, and Titanfall 2.
Some good games in there.
I'm really happy
Good
Overwatch,
games,
or not
but
Overwatch.
Overwatch is going to sweep it, right?
Yeah.
No, I hope not. I'm really happy Overcooked got a nod here. Actually, I'm
Yeah, me
really
too.
pleased to see that.
Yeah, Overcooked, like it deserves to be in there, and it's really funny to see that it's matched up with like 5 shooters. But
It might
think
win
it's-
just based on that novelty. I kind of hope it does. It might pull out a surprise upset here.
I think there's a case to be made that probably Overwatch will win, as people are saying. But
Battlefield 1's really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my time with that. And what was the one before Overwatch?
Well, that's Overcooked, and then Gears of War 4 is also on there.
I can't imagine that's going to draw much as far as votes,
so.
because I mean, it's still Gears of War. It's not a bad multiplayer game. It's just sort of the same.
Siege, though, might surprise some people too. Siege is definitely a strong contender on that list. We had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, the Roundtable Play series of that was a good time.
We didn't talk about it, but earlier this week they announced their plans for season 2 as well. So they're kind of doing like an evergreen. I mean, I don't really know the term. They're as a service. Rainbow Six Siege is a service instead of as a product.
Yes. I probably would dive back into that actually. Although I'm probably about 3 years behind the curve now as far as the gameplay is concerned.
Well, I mean, if you play it, I'll play it with you because I was awful at it too. So
just be noobs together.
Put a bullet in the back of Ryan's head. Like, he's just in front of the door.
I don't remember exactly. I feel as though we were all kind of equally incompetent while we were going through that stage of Siege.
Brian got better though because he was playing with Kate a lot, and
Kate was actually fucking a god at the game too, so that helped.
Yeah, me, Kate, and then one of our local friends, Corey, played a bunch of it. So I probably have like maybe 80 to 120 hours in it now.
Christ.
It's not bad because the community stuck around.
I wonder if shooting the hostage in the leg meta is still a thing.
I think they patched that out. It's like I thought, if I remember correctly, now they die after like a random number of shots between like 1 and 3. So
really? So it's
you don't want to risk it
with you. You can still maybe pull it off.
Russian roulette.
Titanfall 2, of course, still needs to be paid attention to as well. Always hearing good things about that.
Still, even a week after its release.
Well, it tends to be forgotten, man. It just gets pushed off.
I'm just fucking with you.
It's so weird that EA decided to compete with its own fucking Battlefield 1 release.
No kidding.
What are you doing?
We're really surprising, but yeah. I think it's got to go to Overwatch.
It is.
I don't see any
I think it's inevitable.
Alternative. Yeah. All right. Next up is best sports/racing game. For traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games, you got FIFA 17, Forza Horizon 3, MLB The Show, NBA 2K17, Pro Evolution Soccer 2017.
All right, out of those, the best racing game is going to be Forza Horizon 3. That's my prediction.
Do we have anything to say about this? I don't know if we even want to tongue-in-cheek it, but...
I mean, a year for Forza Horizon 3 is really good. And, I mean, I guess if I have a horse in the race, it's the one that's not an annualized sequel, even though I like sports games to begin with. So
right. Oh, sorry, Forza, if I want to be pedantic about it.
It's a semi-annualized sequel, so I'll take that, I guess.
Okay, cool. Next up is best strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based strategy gameplay. You got Civilization 6, Fire Emblem Fates, The Banner Saga 2, Total War Warhammer, and XCOM 2.
Personally, out of those, I really fucking loved XCOM 2. It's so hard to compare XCOM 2 to Civ 6, though. They're drastically different.
It's interesting that they both ended up in the same category.
I assume XCOM 2 includes the Shrek mod, in which case I vote for that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would probably give it to XCOM 2, but I think from a broader perspective, I think Civ 6 has had a better reception, and I think XCOM 2 left a bad taste in some people's mouths, not just because of the final mission, but performance issues and other stuff. But I have fond memories of XCOM 2, and I would like to see it win. I enjoy XCOM 2 more than Civ 6 right now.
Banner Saga 2 is a sleeper in here. It's not going to win, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a strong sequel. I never played the first, actually. I did play a little bit of the first. I played like an hour of the first one, but Banner Saga 2 I enjoyed quite a bit. I was also paid to play it, so I suppose I should introduce that caveat.
I played all of the Banner Saga 1, so I should really play the second one, which I heard is better.
It's good, yeah. I really enjoyed it. But, however, the time I've spent with Civ 6, I have enjoyed a hell of a lot. I really like the changes they made to Civ 6 as well. It feels like a really fresh experience compared to Civ 5.
As of today, you can rename cities as well.
That's good too, yeah.
The fall update. You can finally,
That's bizarre that you couldn't before.
Yeah.
I saw you try to do that in one of the episodes.
Yeah,
Really
'cause
strange decision.
you just click on your city and hit enter, right?
Right.
No. But probably now.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see XCOM 2 take it, but I think it's probably between those two, Civ 6 and XCOM 2. Maybe Total War will sweep in there and take things away. I don't know.
Fire Emblem was like the hottest shit for like 3 weeks in March as well.
Yeah.
So I think it has a chance, but
All right. Best family game. This game
Ooh.
appropriate for family play, including Toys to Life, rhythm, music, and dance games, and other genres. Got Dragon Quest Builders on there, Nick.
That's sweet.
Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. Pokemon Go. Ratchet and Clank. And Skylanders Imaginators.
Why does Ratchet and Clank fit with those?
It's family friendly. I mean, it's like a PG movie,
shooting
basically.
things, but they're like robots.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
explode into parts. You know, it's like
All right, I guess if Dragon
bolts and
Quest
screws
fits,
are
then
falling apart.
Ratchet and Clank can fit. Sure.
I really liked Ratchet and Clank. I still stand by that. That was one of my favorite games I played on the PS4 this year. It was pretty stellar.
I
Just
think it was really pretty and it was fun, but it was sort of short-lived. Like this is the only Ratchet and Clank game I didn't really want to play through a second time.
yeah.
So I think Dragon Quest Builders might edge it out a little bit, but they're both pretty good. Both pretty solid.
I hope Pokemon Go doesn't win. I'll just
Yeah, me too.
How the times have changed.
I don't think it
3 years
deserves to
from now,
win an
it'll be running
award.
strong.
That does not mean I don't think it's popular and doing well with its audience. I say I don't think it's an award-winning title, but it might win Best Family Game. I don't know. Actually, you know what? In that consideration, I think it is a pretty strong contender because this game created a lot more gamers in the world than I ever thought existed, including my own dad, who I never expected to get completely obsessed with Pokemon Go, but he did for a good while. So there's an argument to be made there, I guess. Ratchet and Clank, I think, deserves to win, but Dragon Quest Builders, I know Nick is quite fond of too, so we'll see what happens there.
I mean, in terms of budget and scope, Ratchet and Clank is, I think, inarguably the most well-developed there. But I think in terms of gameplay, they could give each other a run for their money.
I don't know. And Skylanders probably costs like $15 million.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. All the licensing.
Yeah, the Activision title. Best Fighting Game is up next. Killer Instinct Season 3, King of Fighters 14, Pokken Tournament, and Street Fighter 5. Did anybody play? You played Pokken Tournament, didn't you, Mathis?
Yeah, I love it.
You
I
love
think
it?
it's great. But if they're going for like competitive, like I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I have a feeling Street Fighter will probably win.
Am I just confused about Street Fighter? I thought Street Fighter
thought it
5
was
came
the
out
worst.
last year, didn't it?
It was bad
Last
because they didn't release with like full single player, but
Didn't it come out in June?
No, I'm not confused about the game. I'm confused about which game this is.
Street Fighter 5 is the new. I thought it came out
Did it
before
come
summer.
out? Okay, maybe I'm just misremembering. It must have been this year then,
It
but
just came out with like a weird launch that was like not really working properly and was missing a bunch of stuff.
okay, but yeah, Street Fighter 5.
So where is Guilty Gear Revelator? Where is Blaze Blue? Central Fiction
only
Probably.
only in Japan apparently.
Yeah, they've only got 4 entries on this list, which is a little surprising.
I thought Pokken Tournament was freaking awesome. I
Please,
really
please sweep all of them.
But I have a feeling Street Fighter 5 will win.
Yeah, wouldn't be too shocking. Next up is Best Role-Playing Game. Best games designated for rich player character customization and progression. Dark Souls 3, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, The Witcher Wild Hunt Blood and Wine, just the expansion, World of Warcraft, the Legion expansion, and Xenoblade Chronicles X /10.
Blood and Wine, I haven't gotten there yet. I hear it's like 30 fucking hours.
Yeah, I've heard it's basically its own game, which is insane. I'd just assume Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3
Yeah, I'm
was
a
excellent.
bit biased there, I think.
Blood and Wine has to win so that The Witcher 3 can continue cementing its legacy as the only good game that's come out since 2010. To respond some more Reddit posts of, why can't every game just be The Witcher 3,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like, honestly, Dark Souls got a chance. I'd put my Nate Silver stamp on Blood and Wine, though.
Fair enough. Mankind Divided, have a chance, you think? No?
I like Mankind Divided.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I feel like it was good.
Washed away into generic sci-fi world, right? Like you kind of just lose the perspective on it compared to the others. They just feel like stronger identities.
That's a fairly good point, actually. Yeah, it's very easy to forget a lot of what's going on in Mankind Divided.
I'm with Ryan. I think Blood and Wine's going to take it. Blood and Wine is just I haven't gotten there yet again, but it's like amazing.
Yeah. Just from what I've seen, it's just it really is. They put their heart and souls into basically creating another entire Witcher 3 experience. It's pretty neat. Next up, best action adventure game. Ooh. You got Dishonored 2, Hitman, Hyper Light Drifter, Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Such a mixed bag. There's so many I want to have opinions on, but haven't played enough to talk about.
I'm going to give my nod to Hitman here.
I think it has no chance of winning, but I really, really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably Dishonored 2 or Uncharted 4. Having not played either, I still just think, like, from what I've seen of reception, in particular, Uncharted 4 is like something that we forget about all the time because we don't play that much on consoles.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, the people that I follow on Twitter who are in the industry are like, I'm losing my mind over Uncharted 4. They post like a picture of like a rock zoomed really in, and they'll be like, "Look at the fidelity of this texture." And I'm like, those are the people on the jury. So that's why I think Uncharted 4 has a great chance there.
Yeah,
I probably is what's going to win.
I agree in that that's probably the sleeper among our group is Uncharted 4. It might end up taking quite a few categories.
With how much I'm fucking adoring Dishonored 2, though.
Yeah?
I'm putting it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
I'm not like I already. Yeah, we'll get. We'll talk about it.
I still need to play Dishonored 2 as well. I do want to say though, I devoted basically an entire segment of a previous show to Hitman pretty recently, but it actually surprised me quite a bit how much I enjoyed every episode that I played of the episodic release so far. So I'd be pretty happy to see Hitman get a nod here.
It's extremely good, and I think it is going to be one of those games that is like, it's going to be like Titanfall 2, where in 2 years when we talk about it, we're just going to be like, why didn't this game do better? And people will be like, oh, at launch, I was telling people to play it. But, know that it does have always online DRM, but it also is like 40% off this weekend. So you can get all 6 episodes for, I think, $35 American dollars instead of 60.
My complaint with Hitman, we've talked about it already. Like, I recognize the gameplay mechanics are phenomenal and like it's super fun, but it's got an element of silliness that the other one didn't. That, for one reason or another, puts me off of it, and that's personal. Like, I understand that. I enjoyed Absolution, even though it was maybe like not the greatest Hitman game I've played. There was a story there, and there was a coherence there that doesn't translate to the episodic formula for me. Every mission feels disjointed. The story feels really like forgettable and throwaway. And it's just about being as goofy in a sandbox as you can, have like silly moments, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just not my style.
Sure. Yeah, if that's not what you're into, but you are totally right in that's more of the direction that they were taking with this one. Especially because it's episodic, I think that was pretty intentional. That it feels a little disjointed, just because they want to have sort of a contained experience in every setting. And I think it still works, but you're right in that this story is not nearly as cohesive or interesting or engaging as previous entries in the series.
I would say that the story is like really bad.
Yeah,
it goes so like, because of the way the game is structured, you play a level for like 2 hours or an hour maybe to figure out how the way you're going to do it. And then when you win, you see like, a rival hitman is like, hey, I'm sorry, I never had a choice. Give me the keys to the safe. And the guy goes, you'll never get away with this. And they shoot him in the head. And then you start your next mission. And you're like, that's 30 seconds of that guy was not in the mission that I did. I don't know who's shooting. I don't know what the key is for. Like, that stuff is really, really not good in my opinion. And it's like the story, they might as well have just named it like VR missions, and it would almost like preclude the need for a story. But the missions themselves, as opposed to Hitman, as opposed to Absolution, which was like 13 or 14 missions that were like you know, half an hour long each. These are like 6 missions that you could spend like 2 hours on each. Which is
I'm not. And chat's like, who plays Hitman for the story? I'm not saying I played Hitman for the story, but there's a tonal. I feel like there's a tonal shift between the games. Like it went from kind of serious and intriguing and being like a badass to being like you're still a badass, but it's like it's goofier and sillier. And
I will say, in Absolution, there is a mission in which you fight a luchador with QuickTime events.
And there are machine gun nuns. Like I understand. Like there's silly moments.
It sounds like Dead Rising.
A little bit, yeah.
That was one of the missions that people were like, I don't really like. Like I'm actually wrestling with a luchador right now with QTEs, but
Yeah.
Like it could be distracting is the thing. Like even if you don't play a game for the story, it could pull you out of pretending you're just having fun with this mechanic. All of a sudden now you have to consider the story and how much it's bothering you. And I think that's maybe where Mathis is coming from. That's probably
yeah.
I will note as well that while you may not play the Hitman games for the story, it can unfortunately be a little disjointing to your experience if the story is bad enough to actually have an impact on how you perceive it. You know, like that if it goes the other way too negatively, it unfortunately can impact other things.
Like,
in a way,
exactly what I just said.
Yeah,
in a way,
right.
the story is so bad. The story is so bad that it actually like transcends badness. Which is not to say that it's so bad that it's good, but it's so bad it goes from like a 3 out of 10 to like a not applicable. Where you're like, I just don't even care. So I'm not let down by this story. I've recognized through enough cutscenes that I don't need to pay attention during this. Just take me to Hokkaido next.
I mean,
okay?
I just ended up skipping the intro to the 3rd fucking mission. I didn't even care.
Yeah.
I wanted to play.
Oh yeah.
Can I ask how you guys think that Hyper Light Drifter fits into all
I
this?
was actually going to mention that. It's like Hyper Light Drifter, after the 60 FPS patch, actually, I went back and played a little bit more of it. That made it a hell of a lot better, in my opinion. And
good.
I don't know if that's like just a pedantic thing, but I thought it really improved the experience overall. But it's still a game that I thought I was going to like a lot more than I did. And, never really stuck with me. How do you feel about it?
A good game that's flawed, I think. And I don't know if it stacks up well against the other ones in that category, but I think in the right category, it could be one that gets ahead. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think there's something tragic and interesting about the framing of the story, but I think the mechanics of it kind of take it away a little bit and it becomes a little bit repetitive. But, I mean, as far as the art contribution of the game, it's very much valid. And I did enjoy playing it. It just was a bit frustrating at times as well.
Yeah.
But with the 60 FPS patch, I think my biggest gripe was just that delay in the controls. And if that's fixed, I think it probably makes it a lot better.
It feels a lot tighter after the patch, I will say. So you might want to try it out again, actually. I'd be shocked if it won.
Yeah, I would too.
In this list, like
sure.
that would blow me away. But I'd be happy for
Love
him.
the aesthetic. The art aesthetic is so beautiful in that game.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. That's always been what impressed me from the start. Like I can still picture almost the entirety of that screenshot of those massive heads from the beginning. Like it's such a stark contrast in colors and stuff. It's really cool.
It's got that like blacklight reactive almost look to it, where there's just this neon pop to stuff, and I just love that.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Best Action Game. For best games in the action genre focused on combat, you got Battlefield 1, Doom, Gears of War 4, Overwatch, Titanfall 2. Nothing shocking here.
Oh. So Overwatch is going to beat Doom and everyone's going to be angry?
Weirdly, I would think that maybe Titanfall 2 has a shot here.
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
And like, because it's kind of a critical darling. I don't know. Obviously, I'm trying to push a narrative here, which is that I think the critics have more say than like popular consensus, I guess. But I think that Titanfall 2 maybe benefits from people being like, this is not going to be as commercially successful as we thought it was going to be, and the campaign is beloved, so maybe it could get a push.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say Gears of War probably will not take it against the other 4, so that's like the only one I can really rule out at the moment. But I could easily see the other 4 taking it. Battlefield 1, I know, has basically fulfilled everyone's expectations of what they wanted out of that. Doom obviously blew everyone's expectations away as well. Overwatch is Overwatch. Titanfall 2 is the darling.
Weren't there other action games during this year that weren't first-person shooters?
No.
Or were there not? Oh, there just weren't?
No, there
Okay,
weren't
I
any.
think misremembering.
I sort of feel like Overwatch is like it's like the Mad Max Fury Road of this Game Awards or something. And it could be wrong, but write it down in case I'm right, because I want to get the credit for this prediction.
Yeah.
No consequence. You know, like the Oscars last year, you're like, Mad Max Fury Road was awesome. It was probably like the movie that I enjoyed the most last year.
Mhm.
And in like, you know, best, you know, balls to the wall action movie categories, it's got a great chance. You know, like it's gonna win those. But when it comes to best picture, you're like, it's probably gonna be like Carol or something like that. That's how I feel almost about this. Is that Overwatch is like a shoe-in for best online or best
multiplayer. I think we'll probably take it. Yeah,
but if it comes to like a slightly more single-player focused interpretation, I think there's the chance that other things could beat it.
Where the hell's Shadow Warrior, man?
Shadow Warrior should be on here. I agree with you, actually. Yeah, that's a bit of an oversight.
I don't appreciate them not putting them on the same level, because I think that was better than all those other games, in my opinion. In my opinion, I said it at the end.
I think Shadow Warrior 2 at least deserved a nomination. I'm with you there. I don't think it would win, but I think it deserved to be on the list. And then,
I want to be angry that it didn't win, and right now I can't even do that.
you can't even be angry about it not being nominated because, well, that's not an opinion that's allowed based on the other fan bases that we have in here.
Constraints are not in there, yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Battlefield 1 here. I'm pretty sure that's gonna take it.
Battlefield 1 is like in my analogy, that's like the Ron Howard movie of this year. And you're like, you know, maybe it's no Apollo 13, but Ron Howard's like, he's safe money.
Final picks, best action game?
I'll say Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Out of that group, I guess I would say Doom.
I would like to say Doom.
I was hoping you pick Overwatch so we just have representative for all four, but all right, there we go. 2 for Doom. Best VR game is up next. Yeah, my cup of tea.
There's like nothing there.
There's a few, man. There's actually some good entries.
It's like, which one of the on the list is an actual game? That one.
Call it the,
well, you got
Galaxy.
Job Simulator, so there you go.
Call it
There's
the
your
Star
pick. Batman Arkham VR, Eve Valkyrie, which
Maybe.
That's the actual game, right?
I haven't
think
actually
so.
even played that yet.
Job Simulator is like I would consider an actual game.
Okay.
Oh, that's a PSVR game, is Eve Valkyrie. Okay. Yeah, Job Simulator is like a
Also
full-fledged game. You got Res Infinite, and Thumper made it up there, too. Which is, I'm really surprised that Thumper made it up there. Thumper isn't even like a VR exclusive game. It just has VR
They
incorporated
didn't
into
even
it.
push VR very hard for Thumper.
No,
as far
it's
as
just
I'm
like,
aware.
oh, hey, and Thumper also has VR.
Yeah, Thumper's a game. It's VR. Put it on the list.
Yep.
Eve Valkyrie, maybe.
You don't want to go Job Simulator? I would think you maybe go
Job
Job
Simulator up
Simulator
there
here.
too. It's one of the two. It'll be one of the two.
I wish
Res
I'd played.
Infinite.
I wish I'd played Res Infinite. Yeah.
I would consider this maybe the safest bet in any of the categories so far. For me personally, I think Res Infinite among critics is incredibly well received, and it's got built-in love for the franchise.
Yeah.
I think that's got a great shot. I would say that Job Simulator maybe, but
I'm really curious why 4 out of these 5 are on PlayStation VR.
dude, the Vive's expensive, man.
I guess so, but like,
You can't expect the jury to have access to all the game.
Yeah. That's a weird list, though.
it is really surprising to me because PSVR just came out like a fucking month ago. And you've had all this Oculus and Vive stuff. I'm just like
Where's Farlands?
just looking at
Yeah,
my
right?
list
Where's Farlands?
and just my fucking library. Like, Hollow Point was pretty good. You got fucking what is this other one here that I played that was like a full-fledged experience? You got Redout. Yeah, that was the robot one that freaked me the fuck out. That was pretty good too.
I'm actually very surprised that Call of the Starseed is not on there.
Yeah, Call of the
That's
Starseed was good too.
It's arty and it's a full game, so I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that is a surprising list of nominees, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Res Infinite take it. Kind of hope Job Simulator takes it. I think it probably deserves an award. It was one of the pioneers of good VR, I think. So maybe deserves a nod. Best mobile / handheld game. Clash Royale, Fire Emblem Fates, Monster Hunter Generations,
There you go.
Pokemon Go, and Severed.
That is the most mishmash, non-comparable list I've
Yes,
ever heard.
absolutely. It's
Pokemon
because they
Go
combine mobile with
Monster
handheld.
Hunter, right? Like,
Yeah,
handheld should be its own thing.
handheld and mobile should be their own categories. That might happen
Monster
pretty
Hunter.
soon.
Monster Hunter was fucking awesome.
I'm giving it to Severed out of loyalty.
Yeah,
I don't have an opinion really.
sure.
This is like the category in which I've played the most, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Fire Emblem's up there as well.
Probably.
yeah, but like, they might give it to Pokemon Go, right?
Yeah,
like,
that would be a shame.
Yep. They want to get that applause.
I don't think you.
I'm just
How did we get to this point?
What?
We have no faith in the goodness of other people. I think Pokemon Go, it did cool
I think
things.
Pokemon Go did great things. I was singing its praises until the company fucked it in the ass and like removed features and all kinds of things. So, I just don't think mobile and handheld should be in the same category together. I just think it's incomparable.
It's surprising to me too that they've still got those combined with one another. There's plenty of entries in both categories. I don't understand why you got to make it two.
I like Monster Hunter Generations more than Pokemon Go, but I'm not gonna flip my lid if this like pretty novel and very successful game wins versus like the 14th Monster Hunter game. Like, I'm gonna be okay with it. I can see a case that's justifiable.
Clash Royale may surprise people.
Yeah, that's the one that we're not gonna look at because we're outside of the target demo.
Yeah.
We're core gamers.
No, Clash Royale was great.
Yeah, I actually played quite a bit of Clash Royale. It was a good time.
I was thinking that for like good 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm. I would be happy to see that win, honestly. I don't know if there's like a negative stigma at all associated with Supercell just because they kind of dominated the mobile market for a long time with the Clash games, but they did good with Clash Royale, so I wouldn't be unhappy about that at all. Okay. Next up, Best Independent Game. Here we go. Here's our meat and taters. Firewatch, Hyper Light Drifter, Inside, Stardew Valley.
wait, what side?
Inside.
Inside. Okay, you cut out for a second.
Stardew Valley, and The Witness.
It's a lot of good games.
We're gonna give it to The Witness because it's Jonathan Blow, but
I wouldn't say so. Not
That's
necessarily.
like me saying about Pokemon Go getting claws, isn't it?
no, and I
How did
partially
we get to be so cynical, Mathis?
Where did our faith in people go?
God damn. I partially agree with you though, like in that I think the critics are gonna pick things that make sense to them. I'm not saying The Witness is bad and play it. I think The Witness is gonna take it. But I think Stardew Valley deserves it.
I
Stardew
actually do too.
fucking the feature-rich game. I love
And
it.
made by
I would-
one dude mostly. Like that's the part that still blows me away.
I think my safe money for me is Inside. Not just because I think it would be my personal choice out of those, but I also think that, you know, the perception, you can easily make a case against a couple of these games. The Witness and Firewatch are a little too arty, I think, for like extremely massive appeal. Stardew Valley is almost like it's too mechanics focused, and it doesn't. I don't know. There's like no narrative.
Too much of a video game.
Exactly. I'm actually. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Actually, is that it comes across less as a piece of art. It's almost like not arty enough because it's just a sandbox for you to play around with the mechanics. And then I think that Inside kind of, you know, it has a story. There's a little bit of artistry behind it. Mechanically, you know, it has some gimmicks. I think that it has a good chance to be a favorite there. That, you know, I'm not saying it's going to win 100%, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does.
I really.
Was someone last year? That was last year.
Yeah,
right?
that someone was last year. I sung Inside's praises when we talked about it on the podcast. I'm still like the recency bias is worn off, and I'm still in love with that game. It was really incredible. The art is beautiful. I think it's actually nominated for an art category as well, which I'm really happy to see. Thought it was just phenomenal. The ending is questionable, but at the same time, it's just sort of meant to be that way, I guess. Inside was great.
I'm questioning why Absu wasn't on there.
I really don't feel Abzu is on the same level as any of these 5 games, to be honest.
I think it's
Is it
comparable to
Firewatch,
Inside
really?
for sure.
I
think
would say it's comparable to Firewatch.
I think I'd say, well, yeah, actually, you know what? I might agree with you there. I think Abzu and Firewatch are probably at about the same level. Abzu, I did not enjoy as much as Inside. Stardew, well, actually, you know what? Personally, I didn't fall in love with any of Hyperlight Drifter, Stardew Valley, or The Witness. Firewatch I liked, but Abzu, I kind of just had a, well, okay experience with that by the end of it. You know, like I thought it was beautiful. I enjoyed playing it, but afterward, it didn't leave me with that same resonating feeling that Journey left me with. You know, and I guess it's not even fair maybe to compare the two, but at the same time, I mean, it's Matt Knopf, he's the same creative director, so really it should be kind of along those same lines, but Abzu didn't stick with me as much.
Yeah, it's surprising because I saw you were so enraptured by it when you were first playing it.
Yeah, and you know, I think my initial impressions were really good, and then once I came to the end of it, once I had completed the experience, it was, you know, I definitely won't say it's bad, but it was not up to the same pedigree, I suppose.
There's not
I feel more guilty about doing YouTube videos of it than like if it takes all the joy away.
There's I mean, I don't mean this to be insulting to Firewatch or The Witness, but I would put Abzu up there over either of them. But if I'm looking at this exclusively from the lens of, you know, what will the Academy like?
Yeah.
Abzu is like, you know, no matter how good a short film is not going to get nominated for like Best Picture. I think Abzu is just a little bit too much of like an experience instead of a game.
Yes.
To really hit the notes for enough people to get up there. But if it was my, you know, choice, I would probably put it up there over, I don't know. I kind of, maybe I like the idea of The Witness more than I actually like the game of The Witness. So I would probably put it there instead.
I'm also surprised Enter the Gungeon isn't on there. I think that deserves to be.
Yeah, probably.
I agree with that, actually.
My pick would definitely be The Witness, although I'm a bit conflicted because I think Stardew Valley certainly deserves it as well. I think I think it's one of those you get what you put in games, and The Witness, I put in a lot of hours and really enjoyed the experience. And that did leave me with a lot because I had to overcome a lot of stupid shit that was very frustrating in The Witness, but it was ultimately rewarding.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the Dark Souls formula, the more frustrating, sometimes the more rewarding, and that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was beautiful as hell. I would love to go hang out on that island more.
It's a great looking game.
Yeah, it is.
I still got to say Inside is definitely my favorite far and away of the list, and I think I'd agree with Ryan in that the jury of our media peers would likely lean that way as well. It's a great list, though. I'm really happy with this list this year. Firewatch, Hyperlight, Inside, Stardew, and The Witness.
I actually think that like the sleeper in this category is going to be Firewatch. Like, it's also very well respected.
Mm-hmm.
The critical
Which kind of
side
surprises me because like it was good, but there were a lot of negative aspects that really pulled away from my enjoyment of it.
What didn't you like about it, out of curiosity?
I mean, we talked about it before, but like the ridiculous red herrings, like
Yeah.
the point where there was no way you could second guess what the reality was because the red herrings were so fucking in your face.
Yeah. It's
You're
like they wrote it for a 12-hour story, but it ended up being 4.
Yeah.
the bait and switch in Firewatch is like, I mean, to contrast this with Inside, a game that just sort of ends, and, you know, I'm like, well, that's the artist's vision, you know, they have the right to do whatever they want, and it says more, and blah, blah, blah. In Firewatch, the fact that they baited you so hard and then just switched it at the last second was like, I almost took offense to it. It's like,
exactly.
the second act of, like, the game feels worthless to me now. But I will say, a lot of people feel that way about Gone Home as well, and I don't. There are a lot of, I mean, we've spoiled Gone Home already on the show, but a lot of people are like, you know, I liked it more until they revealed it as not a spooky ghost story. So.
The problem with I think it's hard to compare the two because Gone Home doesn't have somebody over the fucking walkie-talkie reinforcing these thoughts that you're having as you're playing the game.
Right.
Where Gone Home, it's all you putting it together. You're freaking yourself out. If you just took a minute to step back, you could be like, oh, okay, I'm just overthinking. But in Firewatch, you're freaking yourself out, your character's freaking out, and the person is reinforcing that by freaking out over the intercom as well. It was a little, I think it's unfair to compare the two.
My Firewatch experience was also tainted a bit, unfortunately, just by performance. I remember a lot of
Oh.
tanking frame rates and lag on the PS4 with Firewatch, so that was really unfortunate.
That sucks.
Yeah. I'd still go with Inside, though. Pretty sure that's going to take it. Games for Impact Award.
Pokemon Go.
I don't know if did they have this one last year? I don't remember this.
So is this supposed to be like the most
For a thought-provoking game with a profound pro-social meaning or message.
Okay, not Pokemon Go necessarily.
Okay, interesting. Let's hear.
We've got 1979 Revolution. Never actually heard of that one.
It's one about like the Iranian Revolution, I think.
Okay. Block Hood.
Ooh,
I didn't realize that one, it has a message?
it's like it's all about sustainability.
Yeah,
So
green living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Orwell, which we can probably look into and determine pretty easily.
How did we miss all of this?
No
really?
kidding, yeah.
Orwell, it just came out, right?
When did that come
I
out?
don't know.
That's a good question.
I thought it came out like a week and a half ago or something.
Looks like it was maybe like a month ago. Yeah, it was pretty recent.
Or, well, maybe.
Sea Hero Quest, no fucking idea what that is. And That Dragon Cancer.
Mm-mm.
So I wouldn't be shocked at all to see That Dragon Cancer take this, although I also have not seen or heard anything of 3 of these 5 games, so I don't really have much expertise here. Blockhood was good. I don't know about whether or not it's going to win the Games for Impact Award.
I have no opinion on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Blockhood actually, but I think That Dragon Cancer, it is the source material and it has the press and the pedigree, so
Yeah, it's got the following, too.
that's probably like your 45% favorite.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we really have much to weigh in on else. Otherwise,
I would say Firewatch should win that category.
For real, I'm really surprised to see Abzu not in this one. Like
Abzu,
Abzu
really?
has the case to be made in this one as well.
It's an esoteric statement there.
It's not as much like, oil's bad. It's a little bit more, under the surface. Haha. But proceed.
I don't want to. I want to let that one linger. Best Performance. Awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture. A topical one with the SAG-AFTRA bullshit.
It's going to be Matt Mercer, Nolan North.
No, keep guessing. You're almost there.
This.
We got a few surprisers or surprise entries.
Elias, Canadian Deus Ex Man.
I forgot Troy Baker.
Troy Baker's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Alex Hernandez as Lincoln Clay in Mafia 3. Sissy Jones as Delilah in Firewatch. Emily Rose as Elena in Uncharted 4: Thief's End. Nolan North as Nathan Drake, Uncharted 4: Thief's End. There are 3 nominations for Uncharted 4 in this list. Rich Sommer as Henry. 2 of them are Firewatch, 3 of them are Uncharted 4.
Wow.
And then you've got
Nolan
Mafia
North.
3, and that's it.
I like
Wow.
Delilah.
You got Rich Sommer as Henry, and then you got Troy Baker as Sam Drake in Uncharted 4.
Yeah. It'll be Nolan North or Troy Baker. I only say Nolan North for the Uncharted one because I'm going from it's the final Uncharted game. They want to send it off on a high note.
Sure.
They're like, it's for his 4 games of whatever is
If we're being real, I mean, fucking, it's Nolan North, dude. How do you beat Nolan North?
by being Troy Baker.
Maybe, yeah. It's the only thing you can do.
I'm with Mathis. This is like in 2003, Lord of the Rings Return of the King is nominated, and none of the previous Lord of the Rings films won Best Picture. You're like,
Yeah,
writing's on the wall here, man.
sure.
Yeah.
I want to give a nod to Rich Sommer, actually. I thought his performance as Henry in Firewatch was really great. He sounded really casual, really conversational. They're actually, both Delilah and Henry were really great characters. I'm really
And the
glad
person
they
who
both got
did
the
Lincoln
nod.
Clay was awesome
Mhm.
in Mafia 3.
Mm-hmm.
High points of that broken game.
Alex Hernandez. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I didn't know that Rich Sommer was actually like, the way I just phrased that is really offensive.
Okay.
But he's like an actual screen actor as well.
Oh, yeah, he's in, like,
He's in
what's
Mad
he in? He's in
Men
Mad Men,
and
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Devil Wears Prada. I actually did not know.
Yeah. There you go. TIL. But I thought it was probably a worthy... I think he might deserve to win, honestly. But again, you're probably right in that Nolan will more than likely take this one. Best Music and Sound Design. For outstanding audio, inclusive of score, original song, licensed soundtrack, and sound design. Battlefield 1, Doom, Inside, Res Infinite, and Thumper
What was the category?
Dang.
as a best best music and sound design.
Hit me with the games one more time.
Battlefield 1, Doom. You just weren't listening for the past 30 seconds,
No,
right?
I wasn't.
Battlefield 1, Doom, Inside, Res Infinite, Thumper.
Thumper has fantastic music.
Thumper is an interesting case in this one. I
But-
love the presentation and the feel of Thumper, and the music is great too. The sound design is really good, but it's something about the fact that the audio cues do not flow very well with the rhythm game aspect of Thumper.
I agree.
And that kind of takes points away, I think.
Well, it's non-traditional though. Like it's sort of an industrial soundtrack, which is not something you're usually accustomed to hearing in a rhythm game. I agree. It felt a bit disjointed, but at the same time, it almost worked too in its own way. It's just not what you expect.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of like really heavy metal music, but I know Doom, like people fucking, if you're into that kind of thing,
Right.
like Doom's soundtrack is amazing. I think the audio, not necessarily the soundtrack, but the audio for Battlefield 1 is excellent as it tends to be. The guns sound really good. Just the ambiance of war happening in front of you is just really fucking good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for that to be enough to take the category too. Just the
I didn't play it.
the excellence in sound design for the warfare might be enough. Wouldn't be surprised for Res Infinite to take it for the reasons that Ryan mentioned before. A lot of critics are really infatuated with it, and of course the music and sound design for Res. If that's not good, then the game's not good. So clearly it had that going for it. Inside, I'm actually a little surprised to see up here, although I certainly wouldn't say it doesn't deserve it. I really enjoyed
It was more subtle, but it was definitely effective. I mean, especially like the sound wave portion towards the middle end.
Oh God, I actually forgot about that. Yeah, that alone actually might have been enough to propel it up into a nomination here. That part was brilliant. That was so.
I don't think I've gone quite as far as you did there, but I liked it.
I love
I think
that.
probably
part.
Doom is my pick for that. I think Doom carried the soundtrack carried the game more than some moments of the actual action.
Yeah.
And I did actually go back and listen to the soundtrack separate from the game. But granted, it's like a soundtrack. I don't think a lot of people like that style of music as much, although it does fit mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're into that music, yeah, you might love it. If you're not, it might be really repetitive and annoying.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool to see Thumper win this one, but it would likely be
long
Battlefield
shot,
1.
though.
What'd you say, Nick?
I said I think it's a bit of a long shot, right?
I think I don't think it's the front runner. I think it's probably I'd probably put my money on Res again, and then maybe Battlefield 1. Any thoughts on that one, Ryan?
Well, if again I'm interpreting it exclusively like through the lens of the award show itself.
Sure.
I think this is the award where you go, all right, Battlefield 1 lost to Overwatch, it lost to Uncharted, but they put microphones on real, 1916 era World War I rifles, and they got all that under control, so sure, give it to Battlefield 1.
Sure. All right.
100% confident that every prediction I've made so far is correct, by the way.
Best art direction for outstanding creative and technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Got Abzu up there, got the nod. Firewatch, Inside, Overwatch, and Uncharted 4.
I'm going to say Abzu.
I'm going to say Abzu too.
I think Abzu, it has a unique look to it, and I feel like that's kind of unified with the themes of the game. And it's got like in particular from a direction standpoint, which is the category, it has a cool melding of kind of like, the super futuristic like alien stuff that we've never seen before and ancient architecture, robotics combined with marble columns and stuff like that. Compared to Inside is nice, but it's doing things that have definitely been done a lot before, playing with like light and shadow in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch, I think it looks fine, but it's almost like a little too colorful and plasticine for me. Like it comes across almost like
looks like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like it almost generic, I guess.
How much chat? I'm surprised we don't see The Witness up there.
Yeah,
on that list.
That's a surprise.
And actually, weirdly enough, I was going to say for Firewatch, I feel like it almost, like it and The Witness, like almost cancel each other out. Like if uniqueness is part of the category, I think The Witness and Firewatch have enough like similar design philosophy, at least as a layperson, that I'm like only one of them can be there. And Firewatch, like I think it looks good, but I don't think it's as visually interesting as the other stuff in the categories. But
Yeah.
other people may disagree.
I definitely want to give the nod to Abzu here. I think this is the category it absolutely deserved to be nominated for and probably deserves to win. It's, like you said, I think it's more of an experience than a game in a lot of, from a lot of criteria. And the experiences it provides you are actually really captivating in a lot of instances. I remember in particular the time that the whale comes by you, his eye is like the size of your entire body, and it conveys that scope extremely well. It does such a good job of, keeping everything in scope and allowing you to explore while also creating this feel of, while it is fairly linear, it kind of does a good job of creating a feel of openness at the same time, which is fun for me.
I forgot to mention, by the way, not to interrupt, but I was paid to play Abzu.
Oh,
I should have mentioned that earlier. It totally slipped my mind. But,
okay. Mm-hmm.
So don't trust me.
Yeah, he's lying. Nick, what do you think?
I think Abzu should win out of that group, but I think if The Witness was in there, it should probably slightly edge out Abzu. I'm just thinking about like their use of color and balance, composition all throughout. Abzu is really well framed. There's moments that you'll enter a new area and it's compositionally beautiful. Like it's balanced, it's laid out for the viewer like it's a painting.
Yeah.
And you move through those spaces in a way that it feels like it really activates the space in a lot of nice ways. I'm thinking, though, towards the middle end of that game, there were a few moments that kind of dragged on a little bit, sort of became a little, just bland. I guess there were a few moments that were just kind of olive drab and just kind of waiting to get to the next area to see what the next pretty thing is.
Yeah,
and in
it's
The
like
Witness,
hallways, right?
Yeah, I just kind of didn't get that as much in The Witness. It was a lot of beautiful lighting. Everywhere is mysterious and, again, similarly activated in space. And, in fact, I think they played on light even a bit more than they did in Abzu. So I would say The Witness should win that category, even though it wasn't nominated, but failing that, Abzu should win.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the environments, The Witness is also a lot more interesting than Firewatch, in my opinion. The way, apparently, I have a huge bias towards like weirdly disparate elements coming together, but it wasn't just like a really artistic interpretation of like a national park. It was like, this is its own world, and why would this make sense to be here? Why is that windmill plugged in with some kind of electrical cord when everything else is so like seemingly primitive? Anyway,
I'll go ahead and give another nod to Inside too while we're singing its praises. I remember when we were talking about Inside, we kind of made the inference that it could almost be interpreted as a sort of every frame of painting experience, and I don't think Nick necessarily agreed with that, but it is, it does a really good job of presenting its content as well as you just move along. The parallax scrolling does a great job of just kind of introducing the new elements of the scene, and it all comes together, especially as I mentioned in that sound wave portion. Not only is the sound design brilliant in that, but there's such a massive sprawling dystopian black and white kind of creepy thing going on behind you that really lends itself well to the story and the atmosphere of the game. So another nod to Inside for that too. Inside's just so fucking good, man. I want to play it again. Best narrative: Firewatch, Inside, Mafia 3, Oxenfree, and Uncharted 4. Did anybody play on Oxenfree?
No, I haven't. I heard I should.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
Definitely not Firewatch.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves to win for narrative. I think you're right about
Weirdly
that.
enough, I kind of find myself leaning a little bit more towards Firewatch, but certainly away from Inside. I think that Inside doesn't really make sense in a narrative award.
I'm with Ryan on this one.
Mm-hmm. Uncharted 4 might just take it.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Mafia 3 might be a sleeper here.
I would be amazed if Mafia 3 won.
For all the problems that people have had with Mafia 3, I've heard pretty consistently that the story, the characters, and the narrative are its strengths.
Okay.
So perhaps it sneaks its way up in here. I don't think Firewatch or Inside takes it. Maybe Oxenfree is really great as far as the narrative goes. One of us has to
I feel
play
like
that
they're
at some
setting
point.
us up for a massive Uncharted landslide.
Yeah, maybe. It's got already like 5 or 6 nominations, so there's certainly a reason to believe that. I don't know if I can pick a winner here. I guess it's probably just going to be Uncharted 4. That would be a safe pick in my opinion. Next is Best Studio / Game Direction. Recognizing a game studio for outstanding creative vision.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Or Uncharted 4.
Can you guess? Go ahead and guess.
Okay, well, Naughty Dog for
Project
Uncharted
Red for
4.
Blood and Wine.
Yeah, there's 5 total, so you get. I'll just keep putting up fingers until you get them all.
Is Mathis right with CD Projekt Red?
He's not there. Mm-mm.
Okay, well, whichever EA studio made Battlefield
Yeah, I was
1.
going to
You got
say EA
Dice.
wherever.
Dice is out there for Battlefield 1.
Okay, well, let's think about it. What's been nominated for everything else. Is Playdead on there?
Playdead's not on there.
Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is Campo Santo on there?
Campo Santo's not on there.
All right,
Blizzard, is Blizzard on there?
Blizzard's on there for Overwatch. You got 3.
Great choice. Great
Mhm.
choice.
Love the narrative of Overwatch.
What else?
Well,
Oh,
Direction.
This is best
Direction.
studio and game
Direction.
direction, man. Come on.
Sorry.
Epic for Gears of War 4.
Not up there.
Was it or Microsoft Game Studios for Gears of War 4? I can't remember.
I think it
how
was,
that-
yeah. Mm-hmm. You got 2 left.
Let us guess. I'm sure we can get
Sure.
this.
Deus Ex up there?
Not for
no.
Square Enix, no.
Is IO up there for Hitman?
It's not.
Man, okay. What's happened here?
Is
Oh,
Dishonored 2 up there?
Dishonored
Ratchet
2's
and
not up
Clank.
there. Mm-mm. Nope. The-
Insomniac.
Sony Game Studios.
Neither of those two. The two
Damn.
that are left have been on other categories.
Oh, so one of them must be whatever
Doom?
Bethesda studio made Doom.
Yep, it's software for Doom. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, it's right. It's software, of course.
Yeah, Hello Games for No Man's Sky. Obviously, it's got to be up there.
Last one. You can do this.
I think we ran out of options.
No, you can do this. It's The Darling.
It's the Darling.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Blow?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
It's Jonathan Blow for The Witness.
Is it Heart
I don't know if
Machine
he's the darling.
for Hyper Light Drifter?
No. AAA.
Triple
Hey,
A.
darling.
Shooter.
Titanfall?
Yep, there you go. Respawn for Titanfall 2.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. So to recap, Blizzard for Overwatch, DICE for Battlefield 1, id Software for Doom, Naughty Dog for Uncharted 4, Respawn for Titanfall 2.
If Uncharted doesn't take it, Overwatch will.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree.
that's pretty succinct.
What gives you best studio? Is it like your employees are the happiest, or is it like your game was like? Isn't this already spoken for with whatever game wins an earlier category for like best game?
Right. Well, their
Right,
definition
no
is
metric.
I'm assuming it's not like, well, you know, Sony Santa Monica gives their junior programmers dental plans, right? Like, how does the jury rule on this?
This nebulous goodwill factor, I think, is all it is. Just like who you feeling the best about this year.
Right. Their definition is recognizing a game studio for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
That's super nebulous.
Yes.
Yeah, these awards. Some of these awards are just like fucking just.
This is
jerking
who we
each other
like
off.
this year. Yeah.
It's weird to have an award that's like best studio design and direction that's not best designed or directed game, because like it's not like any of these companies came out with two games.
2 games in one.
And they're nominating the game. They're just saying Blizzard for Overwatch, DICE for Battlefield 1. So yeah, they might as well just say it's for the game. Yeah, I don't know.
So it's the Overwatch Consolation Prize Award.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
All right, last but not least, game of the year. Go ahead and guess them.
Oh well, it's got to be Battlefield 1.
Not up there.
Overwatch, Overwatch is up there.
Overwatch
Uncharted
is up there.
4 is
You got Uncharted 4 up there, yep.
Okay, how many are there? 5?
5 total.
Inside?
Inside got up there.
Yeah, I believe that. But I'm gonna say not Firewatch.
Not Firewatch.
Doom? Would Doom be up there?
Doom made it. Mhm.
Well,
So you got one more.
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2.
There you
Nice.
They
got
love
Uncharted's
Titanfall.
gonna win it, and if they don't win it, Overwatch is gonna win it.
I want
so-
Inside to just fucking surprise everybody here. That would make me really happy. But I think it's going to be Overwatch or Uncharted. Yeah.
I think Inside has a chance, and this is very cynical of me, and I don't dislike the people who run the game awards, even though I think it's borderline irresponsible to have an award for like most hyped game, which is just stupid to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Sky?
In an industry that is having a lot of problems with legitimacy and broken promises. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think that Inside cannot win it because people watching on network TV are gonna lose their fucking minds.
Yeah.
People would go ape shit. They'd be like, look at this shitty little black and white game. beat Uncharted 4. Have you seen all the pixels in
Uncharted
Uncharted 4?
Did you see the rock slide?
Yeah.
I shot one pebble with a bullet and everything slid down.
And that's why these are all stupid.
Woo,
These
man.
whole things mean nothing.
Yeah.
If it wins, I'll be happy to eat crow on that. I'm not even saying Inside deserves to win and it's going to be ripped off. But if it wins, I would be like, you know what? Fair play. Next year, anything can happen. But if it's played super safe, as I would expect that it would be, then I feel like that is fair.
I'm really happy that it was even nominated, honestly. It beat out things like Dark Souls 3, Ratchet and Clank, fucking Hitman, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Like, it has...
That is surprising.
Yeah, there are a lot of serious contenders that it topped, so kudos to Playdead.
So Inside's up there.
Mm-hmm.
We had, 3 first-person shooters on that list?
You got Uncharted and then your FPSs.
3 first-person shooters.
Titanfall, Overwatch, Doom.
Excuse me, Uncharted is not even close to those games. You shoot with the camera over your shoulder.
I'm saying.
No, that's what I was saying, is that it's you got Uncharted and then you've got your 3 FPS.
3 first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Don't take this as us hating on Uncharted either.
No.
I'm just saying.
We just haven't
I
played
still
it.
need to play it,
None of us have
so.
played it.
Yeah, I haven't played it, and I love big games that do things well. I mean, by all accounts, one of my favorite games, I guess technically it's this year if you count the PC version, is the second Tomb Raider game. And I've heard that, Uncharted 4 is like a lot better than that. So I'm not insulting Uncharted 4. I'm just saying, this is really there's only like 2 games nominated for this, probably.
What the hell is it called? Tomb Raider...
Rise of the
that was great. I really enjoyed that game.
That game it's weird because like first off, it's not nominated for anything.
Yeah.
Which I was a little surprised. It may be action adventure, but
when you're going up against Uncharted,
true. I guess it's like strictly
It's
better.
objectively
right?
better, yeah.
Yeah, but that game is like, I really, really liked it, and then people would be like, "Well, Lara Croft just constantly like almost dies and comes back to life all the time." I'd be like, "Yeah, there's way too many QTEs." I'm like, yeah, you got a good point there, and like, Lara Croft has a shotgun; she can kill like 100 people with it. That's not really what I'm looking for in a game like this. And I'm like, I know, but
They play it on both sides is the thing. They want it to be this gritty survival game, but at the same time, it's super arcadey in its execution, which is dissonant.
yeah. There's really cool moments in that game where you're like
Fun,
alone in nature, and it's like, Mother Nature wants you to die, and I'm like, that's really cool. But then you go down a rock slide and you fall into like an enemy spawner with explosive barrels around it, and you're like, I know you guys were making games in the 90s, and like this is just an up-res version of that, but come on.
It feels a little bit like how they wanted to dilute Resident Evil being a horror game with the shooter element of RE4. They just couldn't not resist the market call in a way. But, it was good anyway. I'm not shitting on it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to guess my top 3 of the year, which are none of the ones that were nominated?
Yeah, let's go with, The Witness is obviously up
Gotta
there.
be The Witness.
Yeah, it's The Witness.
So let's see.
All right.
Did Planet Coaster make it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, so you got 2 out of 3. And then Project AM2R.
No.
Oh.
No, that would be in the top 6 maybe, but I
Okay.
don't think it's the top 3.
did you super love Abzu? Would Abzu be up there?
I super loved it, but it wouldn't be in my top 3.
Okay. I don't know what the last one would be.
You should know, because I was talking about it a lot.
This is Shadow Warrior 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
Shadow.
oh,
Warrior.
yeah.
Those are my top 3.
That makes sense. That's a fun one. What's the top 3? Well, you know what? Actually, let's save that. We've got an end of the year review show coming up in a month. We'll go ahead and knock all those out. So we're already running way over on time today as well, so we gotta get going. But game of the year picks. I'm gonna go with Overwatch. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's gonna win.
I think that if anything can hold Overwatch back, it'll be that from a traditional standpoint, there's no single player. And I actually think, weirdly, it's very slightly bold for Overwatch to win Game of the Year without having a single player campaign. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I would say that from like a more traditional kind of, because this is a traditional awards show, at least the closest thing the games have to it, I would be a little surprised. Not overwhelmed, but a little surprised.
All right, and that's the Game Awards. We're all giddy with anticipation. We'll see what ends up winning. Well, let's move on to the rest of the show real quick. I'm probably going to end up having to chop a couple things off the docket. We'll get to them next week for sure. Let's go to Planet Coaster real quick. So, Nick, you want to take the helm there?
Yeah, I mean, I actually talked about it on a prior show, but it's now out. Planet Coaster is by Frontier, right?
Yes, yeah.
The Elite Dangerous guys.
Yeah, the Elite Dangerous and creators of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Yes.
They've gone back to the drawing board to reimagine what a theme park game can be, and they pretty much knocked the ball out of the park, in my opinion. So it's got a massively open sandbox mode where you can just make anything you want in this massive plot of land, create custom rides, create custom buildings, create custom blueprints of your custom buildings, and share them with your friends. It's basically the Little Big Planet of roller coaster games, and it's absolutely beautiful. It runs quite well, in my opinion, at least with the rig I have. It's incredibly fun and has other game modes as well, including a career and challenge mode. And I haven't gotten super deep into either of those yet, but I did one of the career mode challenges, and there's challenges within the career mode and also challenges. And I've quite enjoyed that. Also, it gives you a little constraint as to how much money in your budget to simulate your park and trying to overcome these various obstacles. For example, in one of them, there's these mysterious monoliths that cause all of your rides to break constantly and makes you very frustrated because you can't keep up with repairing them fast enough. But it's just it's a new way to think about managing all your resources. And there are quite a few very detailed bits to manage. There's employees, maintenance schedules. If you want to get into this stuff anyways, you could do sandbox mode and avoid all this too. Unlocking resources, keeping your people happy and fed, making sure they're not too nauseous when they go on your rides, making sure there's trash cans and cleanup crew. It gets very detailed, but it's fantastic. It's probably...
Does management stuff carry over to Sandbox at all, or no?
I think you just have infinite money and you can choose whether to engage in it or not.
Oh, okay.
The way the game is structured is the names of the modes to me are slightly unusual. Like campaign is really like scenarios, like you're saying with like, the monoliths that cause your rides to break down all the time. Like those are like, I would call that challenge, honestly. And then the sandbox mode I believe is unlimited money. And then the challenge mode is what I would consider to be like, it's like a traditional RimWorld campaign or something where you start with like a little bit of money and no rides, and then you build up your park. You put a ride down, that starts making you a little bit more money. You put a better ride down, that starts making you more money.
That's the kind of mode I think I would enjoy.
Yeah, I really think that like a very slight quality of life problem is that mode is, when I see a challenge mode in a game, I'm like, I'm not going to play that. I want to play the game. And then it took me a few hours to realize that is really what I'm looking for the most.
Awesome.
I'll be playing that today.
Yeah, I'm going to be checking it out pretty soon, too. Looking forward to it.
Like, Planet Coaster, not to step on Nick's toes here, but, like, is genuinely, if not one of the best games of the year, one of the most fun games of the year for sure. Awesome. And, like, I've seen people talk about, I'm definitely more interested in the management side than just, like, making something that looks cool. Like, as far as design goes, I don't care about it at all. But it has a lot of those aspects in it that's amazing. But I've heard people complain about the management stuff, but honestly, I've found the management aspects pretty good so far with 15 or 20 hours in the game. And I think even if it's not quite as, detailed as something like RimWorld or even if some of the things that you can tweak, like, the amount of mustard you put on a hot dog or something like that, like those are a little superficial. All that stuff being in there is still really cool. So, I mean, I'm not going to say whether or not I like it more than RimWorld, but I think it's very, very easy to play, and there's like the failure condition like borderline doesn't exist, which is cool. Like in RimWorld, you can definitely get yourself in a position where you're hobbled by making like a suboptimal decision. Planet Coaster's like a little bit more forgiving, I guess. And custom coaster design is really cool. So it's almost like two different games, one in which you manage a theme park and one in which you're like, well, I'm going to solve this puzzle of how to build a roller coaster that not only like fits these conditions that are required, but also starts making me money. So it's almost like two different elements coming together to make something that's really fun.
I got the impression that fun was sort of at the forefront of their design ethos when they were working on that game, which is why the lose condition or the fail condition was kind of mitigated. Like they really didn't bother much with making you frustrated by losing. Because really it is kind of frustrating to just have to rebuild the same coaster. Like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the game that really needs that.
Yeah, and I don't think it does. But granted, I know there's plenty of market out there for people who are very into that kind of punishing gameplay. This is not for you then, if that's what you're looking for. But I was very enthused by the fact that Ryan loves the management aspects, because I was skeptical because I had only played the sandbox mode, and I was super into the creative element. And I was thinking, this is going to be one of those things where I go way over the top with my praise of it. Then Ryan gets to the actual core of the game and is like, there's no game here. I was really hoping that wouldn't happen, and it didn't happen. So I'm very happy about that.
The fact that it sounds like it's super easy puts me off a little bit, because I do like a challenge at least. I'm not saying I want it to beat me over the face and like make me its little bitch, but I would like some sort of level of difficulty.
Ask Ryan about Heart and Soul.
Yeah, the career mode, some of the challenges in the career mode are really, really tough. Like, the way that it was structured in beta, to be like super fast about it at least, was there were only 2 scenarios available in career mode. And the first one was like, baby's first park. And they built a huge roller coaster for you that people paid $20 to get on, and it lasts like 40 seconds. And they're like, this is the best ride of my life. So you're making money hand over fist for doing basically nothing. And you're just like, they're like, hey, put a bathroom here. And you put a bathroom, and they're like, great job. And the second one is like, aliens have crash landed, and there's spaceships or their artifacts make all your rides break down every 10 seconds. And it becomes impossible, or at least very difficult very quickly. And I had to build, it's like the first time you have to build a custom roller coaster, and you have to fulfill like this really narrow set of criteria. Like, it has to be 700 meters long, which is super long and expensive. And then it has to be like exciting and scary, but not so nauseating that people throw up. And it took me like 2 hours to build a ride that actually fit within those parameters. So, and financially that park was fucked as well. So the career mode does get tough, and there's difficulty settings for the challenge mode, which is more traditional campaign. But it's more like it's easy, but not to the point of like not being engaging. I would find like maybe
dive into like hard mode, challenge mode, and see how that goes.
Maybe like play normal mode for like an hour. I mean,
there's a learning curve to the UI as well. You should mess around with it a little just to get acclimated. It's about as easy as I think you could ask for it to be, but there's still a few little sticky bits about like the specifics of moving the camera, how to place and rotate things. Like, you'll get used to it quickly, but it's not immediately obvious for everything, in my opinion.
Plus, I hear in one of the challenges they have you put down a trash bin. I don't know how they would expect anybody to figure that out, but...
UK game developer, they put it under bin in the filter.
There's a couple of quality of life things I have an issue with. For example, when you go to like scenery or, facilities for that matter, there's blueprints that they built or that you've built in the past. And then there's custom, which allows you to build it up yourself. And the really cool thing is that like any of the pre-made ride templates you see in the game that have like, staging elements attached to them, or like really awesome looking cues, those are built from in-game elements that you could replicate or, iterate on yourself if you wanted to, which is really awesome. But when you type in bin, if you're in blueprint, there's no bins there. So you go, all right, I'm in blueprint. There's no pre-made bins. I have to go to custom. So then you click on custom, it clears the text from the search bar. You gotta put the mouse back down and go bin, enter. And every time I'm just like, come on. I
agree. There should be like a place to pin some of your most used items or something like that, so you don't have to do that anymore. But the thing is, they've committed to a really long amount of additional support after the game's release, and they're already working on... They said their main goal was to get everything that was in Roller Coaster Tycoon into the release version of Planet Coaster, and then they're going to work on a water park DLC for it, which I'm super into, because water parks, they've added a couple of those already, a couple of rides, I mean, and they're already really fun. But if you can make a whole water park theme, like that's awesome to me. I love that. This is the game that I wanted when I was a little kid, and I didn't know I wanted it this badly because it was so far out of reach for technology's sake.
Yeah.
You can sit in first person and ride every single ride in the game. You can take over the eyes of any person in your park and find out what they're thinking about and what they don't like about your park to fix it. It's so detail-oriented.
Then I put on my Vive and just vomit.
But it's actually like even better than the game that I would have wanted as a kid, because it's got like all these modern trappings that are actually like almost transformative. Like, mostly I don't really care about Steam Workshop support unless it's something like Board Game Simulator or is it called Tabletop Simulator? There we go. But in this game, the fact that you can like labor over a roller coaster for like 45 minutes, finally get it done, and then like with 2 clicks, just upload it to the Steam Workshop. And then if your friend is playing the campaign, they can be like, well, I need to make this kind of roller coaster. Why don't I just like download the one that Nick made and just instantly like pop it into my park? And then you can ride it and be like, what is this guy thinking? Like, he's out of his mind. This ride sucks. At least that's Mike's reaction when he goes on my roller coasters. But I mean, the fact that you can make your own pre-made roller coasters and easily share them with your friends is really cool. So I think that it really does a good job there.
And it's got versatility, like you were saying. Like, you can choose not to engage in the deeper creative mechanics if you don't want to, and strictly stick more toward the gameplay core mechanics, which are just the management. And so there's a little bit in there for everybody. And if you want to go deep into the creative rabbit hole, you could spend your whole life making coasters and parks of various themes. And there's already been some amazing stuff done. And if you want to go searching on YouTube, you can find people that have tried to recreate Disney World and things already.
That's cool.
So it's very impressive technically and gameplay mechanic-wise in pretty much every element. I'd say this is about as close to a 10 out of 10 as I could ask for a game.
Cool.
High praise.
That is, that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to diving into it. Okay.
It's not even a full-price game either. It's like $45.
Well, I mean, that's still kind of a big ticket, but yeah.
No, it's not 60 is what I mean.
Not 60. Yeah, you're right. Cool. All right, that's Planet Coaster. It is currently available. This is the full release, not even in early access anymore. You get the full-fledged thing. There you go. So I hate to do this, but I am unfortunately on a bit of a time crunch today, so I'm going to go ahead and chop the docket. We'll save Beholder, Dishonored, Tyranny, and the Agony demo for our next week's show.
Sure.
Dishonored is for the best because the patch might be out by then.
That's true. Yeah, so we'll have a much better perspective on that, and I need to play a little bit more Beholder, I think, too. And I'd like to actually check out Tyranny a little bit. Positive or negative impressions so far, real quick on that one, Mathis?
Of Tyranny?
Yeah. Good? Okay, excellent. Cool. All right. So yeah, we'll do that next week. For now, real quick, we're going to dive into everybody's favorite segment. That's Ask Roundtable. Ask Roundtable is a weekly segment where you send your questions to roundtableyt@gmail.com. You just say, all right, like, okay, yeah, I guess.
No,
If you want. Roundtableyt@gmail.com if you got a question. This week's question comes from Jeff, who asks, has there ever been a video game character that you absolutely hated? Just unequivocally, just did not like them at all. Any?
2013 Dante, even though I think he gets like a little bit too much of a bad rap and people completely write off DMC because of it. I think he's pretty annoying.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Oh shit, that was not the right thing.
there has to be a character I just absolutely despised.
My first instinct was Tingle. He just freaks me out.
He's a weird dude.
But I don't think that's, like, honestly my real answer because he's not in as many games as, like, to really get in the way. I'm just looking through a list now of annoying game characters.
I am too, actually, because I really didn't think of any bad ones.
Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4 was extremely annoying to me.
Yeah,
he's the perpetual escort quest for, like, this last third of the game or something like that. But that might be because they put her in as a mechanic, too. Like, not just the character, but she's annoying to deal with.
Why does everybody hate Baby Mario so much?
He never shuts up.
Yeah,
he's just a whiner. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
What about the... have you guys played Metal Gear Rising Revengeance?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yep.
They have the... I can't remember if he's Caribbean. Yeah, they have a kid who like exclusively speaks in a Jamaican patois.
No.
It's like... It's so bad. It's so bad. I can't imagine... people at Platinum Games like writing that into their computers, and then the voice actor being like, "Yeah, that's what I'm auditioning for that role right now."
It's like you were playing a super highly polished movie, and then all of a sudden you cut to like a 99-cent shitty Unity asset game for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's
it's really weird.
It's borderline offensive, to be honest with you, but
yeah.
I will, but on a bit more of a serious note, I guess, chat said something that kind of put me in a good mindset. The game is fantastic. Can't complain. I hate all three characters. This freaking GTA 5.
You hate them, really?
I think I can't connect with them. There's just no way I can like relate to them. And I understand that's probably the goal. Like they're all three of them are terrible in their own weird way, and it's in a world where everything is fucked up. But there was such a disconnect there that I just did not enjoy playing any of them.
Yeah,
I just didn't think the story didn't really get me. It's this weird satire in that game. I understand that it's satire, but like the story was just not enjoyable. It was too mean-spirited, and all the characters were in that way. Like I didn't like them at all.
You know who I hate is fucking Mario. I don't understand
same, man,
where
same.
Nintendo thinks they're getting off creating a character like that, but lame.
I gotta say, honorable mention. I haven't played it yet, but the dude from Watch Dogs 2 with the shitty mask with emoticon eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, the emoticon.
I just hate that guy already, and I haven't even seen him
Judging
yet.
that book by its cover, huh?
Well, how about Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs 1 as well?
Right.
Mr. Revenge.
Yeah.
Dude, hey, my family was dragged into this conspiracy. Let me run over 50 people
I
on
won't
my
stand
way
for this.
detective. And well, dude, I'm pro Watch Dogs. I still think that game is like at least a 7.
Aiden Pierce is the best character ever created in video games. I don't
Like
understand what you're talking about.
Somebody killed my family, and then you're driving from one objective to the other, and you just like plow over.
That's the best part.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you, Jeff, for the question. Appreciate it. If you got a question, you can send it over to roundtableyt@gmail.com. It's time for everybody's favorite segment after their favorite segment. It's Nick's Weird Games. Here it comes.
Hooray.
Nick's Weird Games. Nick's Weird Games. Probably Japanese in an RPG. They're Nick's Weird Games. Nick's Weird Games.
Thank you very much, Dylan. Hey, it's Nick's Weird Games, the weekly segment where Nick's going to go get a weird game from his collection of weird games. We got the theme song going. We're going to try to guess what it is. You can guess in chat as well if you'd like. You guys, however, need to close your chats.
Oh yeah.
I am actually going to go grab the game because I didn't do that beforehand. So
Ooh,
entertain
hell yeah.
yourselves for 5 seconds.
Ryan, how do you feel about having your job usurped?
What do you mean? Oh, like the song?
Theme song host, yeah.
I mean, it makes my life easier.
Yeah?
I'll admit that. If people are fine with it, I'm fine with
It's a
it.
good song, man.
I can provide value in other ways.
I hope so.
All right, Nick's Weird Games. Here we go. Got your chats closed?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right. Keep in mind the things the song said, because this time it was entirely correct.
Ooh.
Okay.
Probably Japanese
And an RPG.
RPG.
and an RPG.
It's Nick's
Nick's
Weird
Weird
Games.
Games.
Yes.
So that's where we're going today. We've
All right.
got a developer that I have never seen the name of before in my life.
Oh god.
Saknoth?
God, man, what the fuck is that?
Saknoth. Saknoth.
Saknoth.
Okay.
And published
I
by
shouldn't Google
Midway.
it. It'll probably give away the name of the
Published by-
game.
Don't Google it. That's not
Okay.
fair.
Mhm.
Published by Midway.
This is an RPG, single player only. Came out on PlayStation 2. Released in North America in 2001.
It's old.
This is one of those, you saw it and probably shelved it a few times at Mathis GameStop.
All right.
Never heard you say it that way. That's great.
All right, so we've got linear storyline, random encounters, turn-based battles. Who gives a shit, right?
Yep.
Traditional elements, hit points, magic points. Similar to other console RPGs. Great. That's a really helpful
Yeah, this is
comment.
the
Really
generic
useful help.
staple.
JRPG is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Oh, there are also side quests.
Oh,
Oh, all right. Wow. Wow.
I like side quests.
there's somebody in
And
chat who
you
got
did
it from Saknoth. You know that's true.
Oh, have they? I actually wasn't looking at.
Oh, I just assumed.
They probably have.
Yeah.
Okay, so the world map is a stylized map of Europe and China with locations indicated by dots. That's an interesting bit, actually.
Yeah,
That's
that
actually
is-
useful
There's
trivia.
a couple games that have done that in the past.
Romance
Parties
of
made
the
up of
Three
three
Kingdoms.
characters can be changed. Characters can be positioned in either the back row or the front row.
Ooh. Okay.
Well, I know Bear's Darkest Dungeon sense just went off. Just
I think I'm going down the right path with this. Just the taking place in the real world was enough of like a tip, but
All right.
going a little bit because I'm not entirely sure yet.
I only know like 2 games that Midway has published, and one of them is NBA Jam. The other one is like all of the shitty Gauntlet games that came out between like 1997 and 2005. So I'm totally done.
Oh, this is wait.
I think it's Shadow Hearts.
Yeah!
Is my guess right now.
It's Shadow Hearts, right?
Holy shit!
Shadow Hearts.
Did you get it? Yes.
That is not a game.
That
I-
one,
I-
yeah, that one actually clicked for me too. Oh my god, I'm gonna take credit for that.
Nice.
You fuckers, I had no idea you'd get that from
Shadow
that
Hearts,
much.
I
was
remember
prepared
that.
to go way deeper down that one before we were done.
Yeah,
I didn't even mention the Harmon mixer and the 20 creatures and the 200 special items and 100 different monsters.
I
Oh, that
played
would've
a
done
little
it.
bit of that game. It never really hooked me, but I remember that was like during my prime, like JRPG
Yeah,
thing.
mhm.
Basically.
They hooked
And I was
somebody
like,
because I think they made 2 sequels to this.
That was like 2001 that came out, right?
yeah.
Shadow Hearts. Let me check that.
oh, you're right, Maya.
That was Shadow Hearts.
Espada92 is the first person I see that got it in chat, and that was a while ago.
Hold on.
Knopf did not ring a bell, however.
That
I
did
literally
nothing.
never heard of them before.
Midway helped a little, I think. It was December 12th, 2001. Yeah, there you go.
Well, you asked me at the beginning. I said,
you said it was
2001.
Damn, dude.
Well, congrats. That was one handily on your side there.
Cool.
Maya, relax.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. We appreciate it. Sorry again for missing last week. We should be here next week and through the remainder of 2016. The shows will be at 12 p.m. Pacific here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. So you can catch those that time here. You can also catch the VOD if you missed any part of it, and Mathis' cat in the frame at youtube.com/RockleySmile, Mathis Games, or BaerTaffy. That's not the whole URL. You know how to figure that out. You can follow us on Twitter at RoundtablePC. You can go to roundtablepodcast.reddit.com to catch the show discussion. And you can also download the show on SoundCloud and subscribe on iTunes as well. I want to thank our Patreon supporters over on patreon.com/roundtable. Up above that $20 tier include Julian Avelsgaard, Scotty119, Jonathan Graham, Colby Klein, General Crunk, David Schmitz, Greenlight, Mavier, Oren Saltzman, Eric Schooley, Brizzlebrit, Positron, Christopher Flagg, Mythscare, Mediocrities, Justin Smurfett, and Logan Ray. Thank you all very much. Those are names that I like to read. You guys have been on there for a while. I really appreciate that. And thank you all for watching the show as well. Again, we'll be back next week, 12 o'clock Pacific time. And we'll see you then.
Hey, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, thanks.
Oh, it's not playing. God damn it.
One
time.
and then it crashes. Like,
Yeah, it's going to happen, but it's like one time without any difficulties at all. No, okay, it's not going to work. I just got to reopen it. There's the phone. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.